their backup.
Where is that?
Mine stand.
It's like right down here. It's right down the road. Right? Yeah.
The old one?
The one on Pecan and
Shell.
Is that like right by the Mediterranean store there?
Say that again?
it's like across from Sonic.
Okay.
Wait.
Where Sonic is, right?
I've been there before.
Corner? Or a little further down.
Yes, a women's conference. I think it's April
When we
18th.
first moved here, I went there.
Okay.
Okay.
I think people would love to see you and Fonda.
And Top Ladies with me now.
Oh, okay.
And you may come to that. I know I'm coming.
Okay, I will be sure.
You know.
Oh, is it? They have fresh
So far, so
produce.
good. Saffron
They
white.
used to buy it, but now they're
Always.
making it.
Yeah, I think we got 10 so far. So that's a quorum.
They're on the other side. We're gonna pull off the other now that it's open.
Yeah, that one
We haven't
third
cooked
in
those?
Dubai is like, one time I was going from my house, which is right here, over to the Falcon Point Community Center. It took me
Pecan tastes me out. Go from one side to the other. I'm over 35. So they come this way. I'm like, it never took. We had to, but shove it and stuff in.
Started or wait.
Whatever you're ready to. You can come all the way down. Whatever you're ready to.
Street or
Make sure we got a reminder of the
but then there was, I
mics and the food and the stick.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I was having to listen to
My friend was on the
You feeling better now?
yeah, absolutely. Yes.
no, we feel like we were around that a lot more. This was around that
It's just
time.
Right. It happens,
That's a lovely.
especially in the winter.
Yeah, well, we love Pecan.
I think part of it is
Yep. No, it's not that. It's the. They also have that Italian place that opens up that we like a lot.
getting my body adjusted to that food dish.
Right. What do you teach?
I'm
No, in Round Rock. Yeah, it's expensive. It's more.
I start with that food.
No, we're big foodies,
I'm a song
so it's like we try and find
that program.
I like that.
I was a tuba player. I was a tuba player growing up.
I want to try it because I always see them
But when
build up for
all
when
music
it's right.
teachers,
I'm like,
certified music teachers,
I haven't done that
the amount of hours you have to get in college is equivalent of an engineer.
I fell in love with
Because
chicken soup and now I can't.
And one bad thing is
I
marching
either
band.
order that or ceviche.
You know, you
And
spend so much time in that, that's
try
one
something
credit hour.
else.
Wow.
But then you have to go through and you have to learn essentially all the families of instruments. So I had percussion.
Is that
I had
up
percussion
there?
for a year. I had woodwinds for a year. I had to do all other brass instruments, strings. So yeah, it's just the start of everything. I had to take piano and percussion.
Wow.
So when you're a certified music teacher, you're certified at all levels from
You mean now?
pre-K all the way through high school.
Oh, I just,
So it's a lot.
Yeah.
So
Why did you?
I am, and then I'll admit I ended up working up. It's
when I
Cherry, what I
so
missed
it's
last
like,
month.
oh my gosh.
Oh, sorry.
I'm good.
Well,
Last
outside,
month.
Yeah.
anybody who did.
What do I now?
What did I miss
No,
last
I
month?
wanted to be
What y'all go inside?
Oh, gosh.
Training and you get paid.
Y'all get out of 10?
So,
science, math,
We got
music.
yeah.
it was before 10, just a little bit before 10. Not
Before I got to college,
it's like 9:50 something.
I had music in my blood.
It's a nice job for people who are retired.
Oh, I usually don't start work until 9, 10 o'clock at night.
I'm gonna make it out too, but
The,
looking at these papers.
the early training, I like to.
I work for Apple, and everybody I work with is out in California, and so they're on California time. I work from home. But
Elections
they all like me because I come in even later than they do. They're 2 hours behind me. I come even later, and I work like a second shift on the same pieces that they're working on. I can work on those pieces later at night. So I design computer chips for iPhones, primarily power management chip. That's what I'm in now. Yeah, I've been with them since 2013. I was with Advanced Micro Devices for server. Yeah.
Are they still around?
Oh yeah. They really cooled down. Actually, reason I'm with Apple is because A&D had a layoff in our group that they laid off 57% of our group, and they shipped all the jobs to China, India. And so anybody that's over 50
All right.
and making money.
I guess we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you can see, Jim's not here tonight, so you get me. And this is my first time facilitating, so bear with me. But thank you all for showing up tonight, and it looks like we're going to have some really interesting proposals to review tonight, and hopefully have lots of great discussion. So officially, let's open up for public comment, which I think there is none. Seeing none. All right, we're moving along. We will move to approving our minutes. Item 3A for consideration. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Oh, yep. First item is to discuss and consider action to approve the minutes of the February 2026 Charter Review Commission meeting. Are there any recommendations or corrections to the minutes from February? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
As unread.
And
I'll second it.
second. All in favor? Say
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. All right, so we are moving to 3B, which is to discuss and consider action regarding recommendations for possible amendments to City Charter Article 3, City Council. And I believe Barbara and Jim were going to take back and work on language. Yes?
So my proposal on this one is that the city council, and you sent out has already addressed, I feel like, the concerns with this through a normal resolution. So I would not suggest that I haven't talked to Barbara, but I would just suggest that we do not make any changes, that we drop the proposed changes.
Okay.
And allow what they've decided and passed on their own to kind of move forward.
Does everybody agree, or are there any, or do we?
I guess that would be my motion.
Could we read the section that's it pertains to refresh our memories?
Do we even have it printed up though?
To refresh our memories.
Yeah.
What we're voting on.
This was in relation to, there was a lot of extra verbiage around how, if I recall, like, I don't know if you got them, like, from the original copy, but it was language around how to get things on the agenda, I think.
It was a 2-week, it was like 2 weeks prior to the meeting, right?
Well, like, no additional work by the,
Was this stuff on the
Remember,
agenda,
city
or was this
council may
data
place
to city council?
an item on the agenda that
I
I think it was providing the agenda items to the city council.
well, and it was like a restriction of, like, what work could get done.
here.
Like, ahead of time, like, that no additional work would be done. And they've really gone and kind of set a policy for all of that in place, so.
And
I don't think it's printed up here. If somebody has it printed.
Access to information oversight clarification? Is it that one?
It was from the mayor. I don't know that we ever got it published.
Yeah, so this was from the first meeting in January,
Yes.
section 3.05. He states he would like to provide some clarity to the time frame, making it clear that the item will be up for discussion among the council members. The consenting members of council would lead the discussion and no staff effort would be expended in the preparation for the item. The council members would present any recommendation for future action, and the entire council would vote if the topic is for consideration at a subsequent meeting.
So my suggestion is they handled this no staff effort, like, which seems to be the main concern, technically already anyways, so we should just not. It seems like, I don't know, I don't know, I feel like it's policy, not charter.
Oh, it's this one here, right, on the handout?
So, we can either wait for Barbara to get here,
Did she come in?
or next month, or postpone for another month, or we can just not. My motion is to just not propose a change.
Does everybody agree with Jim's motion to not change, or do we want to wait for Barbara to get back?
I don't know what the question was.
Yeah,
Well, it was,
we're talking about something 2 months ago. I think we need to reread the proposals before we make that decision.
it's from section 3,
3.05.
3.05.
It's getting an item on the agenda.
Right, and there was a lot of discussion on that, so I'd rather we discuss it more than just say,
That's fine, we can just.
take Jim say, no,
I think-
that's not what we're gonna do, because I know there was a whole bunch of discussion on that. Nobody agreed on it. And so, therefore, just to say Jim's coming in saying, I recommend do this, and we all go, yeah.
Well,
I
Terry,
don't
did you
think
read-
that's the way to go.
So what I'll say is, did you read I think it was sent out to everybody, the policy that addresses almost the exact same thing. That's all I'm saying is that so we could.
I think the question is, should this be on the charter, or because city council has solved this problem, do we just let them go with that solve? Because theoretically, they could unsolve the problem, but are we confident that everybody's comfortable with the policy and that there's not gonna be an issue?
So this is centered around the duties of who?
This is if two city council members want to get a thing on the agenda. I think this is related to can they get data for that, and can they get it on the agenda? Or can they get blocked by any one of a number
So-
of things?
I believe the mayor's suggestion, well, I believe what they approved was, that, it now takes a vote of the entire city council to determine if the two people's stuff is valid.
That
before it
was
can be
his
put on.
pitch, but I forget what the actual, Krista, do you have the policy that they passed? Because I think they all agreed on a plan for that. Yeah, I think they all supported it.
But the city council had to approve it before. Before it was two people could approve something and it get on the agenda. I think the policy that they said that now that two people can approve it, but it has to be okayed by the city council. Am I wrong in that?
There was a
Before it's
pitch
being
for that.
put
I
on-
don't know if that's what they ended up going with, or I think there was a little bit more to it than what they actually went with was a little bit more in depth.
So in the policy, there's a section about request perform work or to change operations. Elected officials who desire to have staff perform work or to make changes to operations shall follow the procedures set forth in the rules of order and procedure by requesting a council agenda item. Items that require staff to perform work include but are not limited to report creation, new data compilation, and additional research on a topic for policy creation. A council member request approved by a second council member will be placed on a future agenda for consideration. Staff time may or may not be used in preparation for the agenda item. The consenting council members will lead the discussion and present any recommendations for future action, and city council will vote to provide direction to the city manager. City council and city manager will determine an appropriate timeline for estimated completion of the project or to provide the requested information.
So what are we talking about?
So we were looking at changing a subsequent agenda, is what the mayor was originally intending for us to look at.
And with an explicit, and it's expressly forbidding any staff time to be spent working on it. And so what I'm saying is like, hey, I think they've sort of resolved it at,
At the
through
policy
normal
level.
At the policy level. I don't think we need to change the charter for this.
Terry, I think the pitch was that we were originally discussing this, and then city council did something about it. So the question is, do we want to still do anything about it or not?
No, I don't need to. I think they need to handle it.
So does everyone agree that we do not want to move forward with changing the charter on this agenda item? Do we need to do a vote around, or just move it
Well, I
along?
make
The motion that
Make-
we keep the language on 3.05 as is in the current charter.
I second that motion.
one quick, does the current language conflict at all with what they put in, or is it all good?
That's why he wanted
I
to go.
don't think it mentions staff.
Okay.
Okay, does everyone agree?
I do.
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Okay. So we'll move to 3C to discuss and consider action regarding recommendations for possible amendments to the City Charter Article 7, Initiative and Referendum. And we do have a proposal that was submitted by,
We have a proposal for Melody for 310.
we have one for, we have a proposal on this one too.
Okay, 3B is several things, I think is what that means.
Yeah.
Recommendations. 305 and 310, right? There's two proposals in section 3.
I think Melody didn't realize she could send proposals over to the committee.
Shoot, yeah, so we need to go back to 3. Okay,
We'll just stay.
stay on Article 3. Okay, so, I guess just we'll take a moment and review what was submitted here. Agenda placement for major financial actions. This is from Councilmember Ryan.
That's the one we just did.
Yeah.
Which one are we on?
The one that we just said we weren't gonna change, we're
Oh,
reviewing
so we
to
still on
say.
that?
Thank you.
So-
Thank you.
Another.
There's another proposal.
And then there's another one, 310.
Oh, okay, I see it.
Meeting materials and advanced distribution. So,
Okay.
presenting materials, supporting documents reasonably relied upon for agenda items, including summaries of key financial assumptions or calculations, including the packet or otherwise made publicly available. And then she's asking for advanced distribution of major reports, draft materials for major reports, including but not limited to the annual audit, comprehensive plans, capital improvement plans, and other substantial financial policy documents. Apologize for missing this one.
There's also some notations in the margin over here. I'm not sure who that made those notations.
I don't have that.
That's what was sent out in the email. Questioning what general policies were. I thought this came from our attorney. Did you-
That's,
did you-
that was the separate email I think that he sent out.
Yeah, and so there's parts of 305 that are in, he's notated in that, questioning what general policies are. And some other items there.
And there is an item at the end to discuss the attorney's recommendations. There's an item on the agenda to discuss his recommendations as well.
Okay, we're going to discuss that as we go along, or as a separate?
I think we can go back to it. It's probably easier than trying to keep track of, because there's a lot of them.
But I believe that was the intention, that it can all be, can go through the articles and then look at his recommendations, talk through, he can talk through whatever he wants to talk through.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's fine. I mean, we can do that, but we got stuff submitted by Melody Ryan, councilperson. And
So
then we got
she's
stuff over
trying-
here, and they all deal with 305 at this point, so.
Are you saying, cause like, what are general policies and similar to comment? Like what?
I'm not saying
and
anything.
so
I didn't-
she-
I
and
didn't
then-
write that
And then
note.
Melody Ryan is showing what potentially could be general?
Like I said, I didn't write that note, and I didn't write the
I didn't realize we're still doing
agenda
305.
placement, but I'm just saying there's items here that need to be discussed, I think.
She's saying if.
So the question is if these transparency mechanisms, do they belong in charter?
We're talking about 305, right?
Yeah.
We're two.
I thought we went back to real.
We went back, I think, again, 305. So she's basically saying for any of these big actions, they have to be an agenda item. Is that what I'm getting here?
For financial items, public availability of materials, advanced distribution.
I just don't know how you fit it in there.
And I think, reading through her suggestions here,
We'd have to come up with what the thresholds would be.
the thresholds would be set, I thought somewhere it said the thresholds would be set by, ordinance.
I think that might be on one of mine.
Yeah, on 4 it said thresholds would be set by ordinance, so we want to come up with the thresholds, the city council would, according to what's
I see.
written here.
So basically, she's trying to force separate conversation about each of these major actions.
For financial consideration.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Yes, it's, and again, the city council is one that defines the ordinance, so they would set the thresholds, but this would put in there that, whatever that thresholds are defined as, but the city council, for each of these items, it would force transparency when it comes to large items, budget items, bonds, certificates, COs. And I think more transparency is better.
But are these things that really belong in a charter versus in policy documents?
I think this does because this is making sure that the city council gives appropriate focus
Notice.
on specific big issues. Because, I mean, theoretically, I think the argument here is that they can kind of just lump these all together and run them through, and this forces them to have a separate conversation about them, which is a kind of a safeguard on city council, so that would be the charter.
So, here's a question, does the ordinance already have to be on the agenda in order for it to be proposed and passed? Yes. So,
The ordinance is the thresholds for what these qualify, I think.
well, but the ordinance is gonna be on, like, it's not like they can pass an ordinance without.
No, but the ordinance here is basically saying that they're gonna, ahead of time, determine that the threshold is 25 million or whatever. That's the ordinance.
Well, that's the established by ordinance, the threshold will be established by.
Right, and that's the threshold, and then now it's any time, oh, I see, you're talking about number one?
I'm just talking about number one in any of this, like, can you amend the budget without an ordinance?
No.
So can we acquire land without an ordinance? So I'm just trying to see, is there a redundant, like, is it maybe just that we would call out, like, or is it that when there is an agenda item, can you lump?
Is the key here the regular agenda versus a different agenda?
I don't know, I've been to all
So,
of 2 council meetings. But we do, on the agenda, we have a consent agenda and regular. I was just asking Chris, but like issuance of debt, that can't go on, that has to be a hearing, I believe, and by certificate of obligation. And there's one reading in state law. And so that's gonna be at a, I believe that's gonna be on a regular agenda, and for separate presentation. Like, you can't lump that with other stuff.
So I
I
guess
mean, it might be a broad topic about, because there might be a CIP project, of course, but.
I just wonder why it's being proposed all of these things would come
Yeah.
up on the agenda by default then.
So I guess my question is, of these four things, are there any of these that can be done any other way besides separately on the regular agenda?
Could they be done like in a executive executive session and then approved through a,
Or part of something bigger, or on the consent agenda, or, like, is there
Consent
any
agenda.
other way for any of these four?
You can't take any formal action in executive session. It all has to come back out. And in my experience, again, even my short time here, ordinances, they have to, they read those. And even on second reading, sometimes they'll put an ordinance on consent agenda, but then anyone has a right to take that off consent agenda, and Trista has to read the caption before that item is voted on. And so that, you can argue that's a separate discussion.
Okay, so yeah, if there's no reason for, and there's no way for any of these to be done any other way, then this is redundant.
It's redundant, and I think the spirit of what it's getting at is the idea of highlighting when money's getting spent.
Yeah.
So that the public is alerted and can pay closer attention. I don't know that I amend the charter, but like, we could make a suggestion that they establish a policy about like coming up with some way to highlight, different agenda items, to say there's a lot of money here. I don't know.
I'm checking. We can keep going, you're fine.
Oh, is this microphone not working? I can speak very loud.
This one over here.
Belt it out.
Okay, but I'm just wondering if that could be a suggestion instead, is to say, if the desire is just so that the public is more alerted to when ordinances are being passed that involve the spending of a very large sum of money, that it would be obvious, right? We could recommend that they maybe set some sort of threshold. I don't know. I don't know if anyone else does that. I'd like to try to improve the transparency. There are other cities that would do that, would say, hey, this is a really high dollar item, right, on the agenda. Like, does anybody ever adapt?
I don't know.
I mean, we certainly could require a specific procedure for, it has to be this report or whatever has to be run, or there has to be this documentation for it.
So are we talking about creating a policy
Well, I
regarding
think
the
instead
threshold?
of this, I think what we're saying is, hey, we actually, our understanding is that all of these four items would generate an agenda item already. And so there's no need to redundantly add this verbiage to the charter. This should already be happening. So if the desire is to increase transparency so that the public can be alerted when, there's a key agenda item that involves the spending of a large threshold of money, maybe you could go a different, they could establish a policy around that. But I don't know if that's a good idea. That seems actually really hard to do.
Is it a charter? Yeah.
And if I can just provide clarification real quick to answer your question, Sam, some of these items can be on a consent agenda versus the regular agenda, but still on the agenda. So that's, I think,
But any council member can pull them
any
off.
council member can pull items off the consent agenda.
I don't know, I expect my elected officials to know that this is going to be a really big issue, and it's their responsibility as my representative to get in touch with me and say, hey, we're going to build an arch over the Potomac. And let me know about that, not just, so I just see this as kind of micromanaging, trying to get council not to have a constitutional kind of framework, but to have almost it's like we're trying to, in this, do the step-by-step how-to. So, I see it as redundant.
Does everyone agree?
It'll slow things down.
Yeah.
I think it'll slow it down, because it's being done, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think I have a problem with
You-
spending a lot of money slowly, but
Yeah.
Well, you make a good
Like
point
to
that if it's on the
detrimentally
consent
slow.
agenda,
Yeah.
it can be pulled by any council person. That's a good point. But I've sat through a lot of city council meetings and have listened to y'all read that consent agenda, and y'all read really fast. and sometimes it goes over the audience's head. But,
Recommend for them to read it slowly.
yeah.
I'm all about accessibility, so I would happily put my name on that.
But you do, it is a good point that the council person can pull the item from the agenda for
So
discussion.
it'll show up on the agenda, but they could make a motion to pull it
I
from
know,
the agenda,
yeah.
basically?
It'll show up on the consent agenda and they can pull it to the regular agenda.
A consent agenda is like a default, we're just gonna.
So
what is a
items on the
consent
consent
agenda? I'm
agenda, no, great questions. Items on the consent agenda are items that can be approved all in one motion. So it's a stack of items that council can say, I move to approve consent agenda, I second, they all vote, then all of those items are approved, and then they move into the regular agenda, which is where there's presentations and discussions. If there's any item in that chunk of the agenda that they want more discussion on before they approve the consent agenda, if you watch the meetings, they'll say what items they want to pull from the consent agenda.
So every rep gets to, if any
Anyone
representative
can.
wants to pull it onto the regular agenda, they can.
Yes.
So therefore
Okay, yeah, I
forcing
think it's fine.
discussion if they want
So,
discussion.
right,
Yeah,
if they
yeah,
pull it from the
it's not
consent,
gonna
that
be-
says, we want to discuss this.
And there's no obstructing that.
No,
And so the goal of this is really to get these items more in the view of the public? Is that her, I mean,
I
Is
think
that
there's a general desire to increase the transparency about how we're spending our money. I think if you've been looking at all the proposals.
I would say, I mean, it's more for the public than it is for the council
Right.
members. I'll give you an example. Water rates. Those were rolled into the fee schedule discussion at one meeting. They were approved at the next meeting, and there was discussion about the water rates during that meeting, okay? But at the meeting where it was approved, it was on the consent agenda. And all that consent agenda said was fees. It didn't say anything about what the water rates were, it didn't say anything about that, at all about that. So when the consent agenda was approved and voted on, it's hard to tell but the public, it's hard to tell for the public to just see, okay, these are the people that voted for these water rates versus the discussion that happened 2 weeks earlier.
okay,
And
good
so-
context.
And so, I think this might be more related for that, as, not necessarily for the council, but for the public to have a chance to see what's going on when the actual item is being voted on.
Okay. Any thoughts?
I still just.
I feel like it's
I
already
agree with
done.
Carol.
I just have to, like, the intent is placed on a regular agenda for separate presentation and discussion, which we already have a formality for that in place.
Yeah.
So I understand the intent, I don't know if it needs to be cleaned out more, other than providing a recommendation of how can we clearly state what is on the consent agenda and make that a recommendation to them, because if it's confusing and the public isn't understanding it, that makes sense to me, and we should probably recommend how they're placing that information, but I don't think that is a charter, I think that's more of
Well, Melody
policy,
and I were two of the only people at that meeting, in the audience at that meeting that I know, where the water rates were discussed,
Yeah.
okay? And so it was the next meeting that happened, and no water rates were mentioned, but that's when they were approved through the fee schedule. And
But
so
any
that was very
council member-
confusing for a lot of people later on.
Yeah, any council member could have pulled it off the consent agenda for further
Right.
communication.
Even if they agreed with it, if it's something that they want to bring to attention to everyone, then they could
Yeah.
pull it, and at least it could be, hey, just so everyone is aware, just
And
for that part of the transparency.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Any council member could. Again, I'm not saying this is for the
Yeah.
council
Right.
members. I'm saying this is for the public's knowledge.
Right.
It has nothing to do with whether the council member pulls it or not. It's more for the audience.
So Terry, what you're saying is that if all 7 council members decide we're just gonna pass this a consent agenda, that's not helpful to the public because it's not.
Because the public doesn't know what they're
Yeah,
passing,
what's going on.
in some cases. And that's a specific case.
But wouldn't
like
you
I
expect
mentioned.
Would they
your
know if they
council member to
You would-
pull,
you
I
would
mean,
ex-
to say like,
You would expect your council members to pull it, yes.
yeah.
That does not mean it's necessarily ends up in transparency on it.
And let me just, I hope this adds some context too. So, since last year, we have to, pursuant to state law, we've got to post the agenda and I think the backup's even posted by Wednesday. So you're talking 6.5 days before the council meeting. And that's really where when the public asks me about what's going to be on the agenda, I tell them, well, go to this link on the website, and that's where you're going to be able to find out all that information on there. Consent items, I don't think Pflugerville's different than anyone else. I had this in my old city. Consent items are generally routine items, like council knows they're coming, or the public ought to maybe even know they're coming, with the opportunity for anyone to pull those off the consent agenda, right? And what I've seen, and you'll even hear council express this, so that agenda goes out that Wednesday before the Tuesday, and someone calls them that weekend and says, I don't understand this. And so they'll say from the dais, I want to remove this from the consent agenda. I've gotten a number of questions this weekend. I just would like staff to report on what we're doing here. And you see that, because I think council wants to do what the citizenry wants to, know, and they want to be fair-minded, of course. And so I think there's plenty of opportunities under the current system to get separate discussion on that.
So on this 3 out of 5 proposal that she's put forward, is that really just another way of establishing what cannot ever be on a consent agenda?
I think that's, yeah, it sounds like it.
Is that kind of another way of just saying it, is like, these things could never be on the consent agenda?
I think that's well, that's what the wording says. That's what you read into it for sure.
These things are automatic.
That takes autonomy away from our council members then.
Right, but these are huge transactions.
But so are these some of those routine things that would be on a consent agenda, or these things that would not usually be on a consent agenda in the first place?
Well, let me give you another example. So I'm not used to land acquisitions, which can be easements, right? Mm-hmm. Having to do those by an ordinance that has to be read twice. I'm used to having land acquisitions just be put on the agenda, acceptance of a deed for this property, for this amount, for this payment. And you one action item and you get on down the road. So here, under our charter, it's got to be an ordinance and it's got to have 2 readings. And so I think, yes, if this were adopted, then you could no longer put, kind of a land acquisition item on consent. And
But land acquisition could
I
also
don't
be
know.
$100 million, right? But that could also be $100 million or something.
It could be, yeah, that's a good point.
Hey, quick, Trista, from what you've seen thus far, have you seen, like the big, for example, like the surety bonds, have you seen those go into consent? Like the biggest ones I've seen throughout the meetings have been like change orders. That's like have already been approved, but now they got to a milestone that they need to get their payment, and there's a consent because everybody agrees. Have you seen any? That's the typical way it's done, right? It's on the agenda, but it's just consented. They just move forward.
I don't think I totally understand your question. What I'll say, so issuance of debt bonds are never on consent. And then the number 4, that includes a whole lot of different type of agenda items. And so it depends on what it's for, whether or not it's on consent or not. Not necessarily the price of it. If it is something that is very routine, it'll go on consent. If it's something that's not routine, it won't go on consent. So there will sometimes be, the threshold has changed, but before the $50,000 had to go to council for approval, there would sometimes be something that was $60,000 on regular because it's not routine. Sometimes be something that's perhaps larger that's on consent because it was routine. And so it's the subject matter, not necessarily the number.
So do we have thresholds right now? Or no, so just whatever they want to
It's
put
based on the content of the item.
Okay. And the way it's coming up now, but I don't know if it was consent or if it was listed. I feel like they voted on it, but those change orders to building projects, those were listed, but they weren't necessarily consent, correct?
I don't know. We get a lot of change orders. I would say all the agendas are online, so you can see what's been on consent in the past, what's been on regular on the past. The minutes will show you what's been pulled or what hasn't been pulled. I see a lot of items, so I can't necessarily say which ones have been where.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think we just kind of like what's been said. It's already been addressed in some other things that we've gone over already. So I just feel like we just need to move on.
Okay, let's see, you want us to vote?
So moved.
Okay.
Can you specify your motion?
Okay,
please?
sorry.
I move that we ignore this.
Article 3.05, recommendation
Can I get a
from.
motion?
That was my motion. She can make it nice and pretty. Go ahead.
Motion to move for, or past 3.05 recommendation from Ryan.
Move past it.
Move past it.
Yes, let it go.
So we do have,
You're saying.
Gregory made a motion.
No, like move forward, like away from.
So just say leave.
So
The
Please,
motion
please.
should be
if we
No
can
action.
pause.
No action.
Let's pause.
No action.
Pause.
Propose no
I
action.
made the motion.
We have a motion on the
So I
floor.
need to
Okay.
keep it. So let me make. So you want me to do the right thing? I move that 305 gets passed. We look past 305.
It means no action.
No action on 305. I move that we take no action on proposal 305.
Okay.
On the proposal for 305.
Who knew Jim wouldn't be here? Okay. Is it, and
Do
did
we
you
need a
second
second?
it?
Okay.
Okay, Carol seconded, great. All, okay, does everyone, all those in favor say aye. Thank you. Anyone opposed?
Aye.
So since just one, do we move forward? Okay, motion passes. All right. Moving on to 310, advanced distribution of materials for council. This is the one that I believe we talked about.
Wouldn't that be the same thing? Is it? I think she just mentioned that it's available on the website. 6 days ahead?
Right.
So isn't that sufficient?
I know there has been issues where stuff is on the agenda and city council does not have data for it.
Is that the abnormality or is that the norm?
It doesn't matter if it's abnormality. If it happens, it's fine.
Is that fake news, Trista?
I'm sorry?
Is that fake news? You can't say? She
I
wanna put it
I
on.
don't know what he's referring to, so I can't speak one way or the other.
Okay. Well done on that political answer.
So is this addressed actually with what we already talked about? Is it addressed with the policies that the council has already worked on in tandem of us looking at these things?
So I think the policy is what goes on the agenda. Unless I'm
It doesn't
mistaken.
cover the prepreparation?
I don't think, I think it's like how much staff time, but not specifically what.
You agree?
We added to it.
Yeah.
We added at the council meetings, which shall include any items submitted pursuant to section 3.05. Was a proposed amendment already.
But that's, again, agenda.
Yeah.
Not what, this is supporting material on the agenda.
Okay. That's what I was checking out.
So it's basically saying anything that the city council is expected to vote on, any documentation or assumptions or analysis or calculations that went into that agenda item needs to be available to city council before they vote on it. If I'm reading this right.
Publicly, it needs to be publicly available.
I think this is a really good thing for transparency to the public, for them to have the same documents that it's their tax money, it's their money. Why shouldn't they have the same information available to them as to why the decision's being made to spend their money? I mean, it's not the council's money, so they're making the decisions on it, but it's not their money. And so, personally, when my tax money is spent on something, I like to know why it's being spent, and I like to see the documentation on it. I'm big on documentation, if y'all haven't gotten that. And I think providing that to the public is a good faith thing for the council to do.
This is also not asking them to create anything. This is just saying, whatever you use to support this, publicly release it.
And I've been on.
Is that happening today, right? Like what you just described
Go-
earlier, right? Was that
6 days in advance.
6 days in advance, we can click and,
That's the agenda though, right?
It's not on
well,
the,
but there's no ensuring that there's actual supplemental material around the agenda item, it's just an explanation of the agenda item?
I look at that city website all the time, watch those city council meetings, and most of the information is not there.
Yeah, it's very hard to get some of this information.
And some of those staff presentations have some really good information, but you can't get to them
I know.
after the council meeting.
So
A lot
what
of
is
times
the
we don't-
question they're wanting us to answer?
Make it
How to get it to 'em?
transparent.
So this is saying basically if, when you put something on the agenda, for a city council meeting, any data or reports that the city has created to create that agenda item is publicly released, so everybody can see what was,
So they're not being able to see it?
they're not being able to see it.
Well, I've had to spend a lot of my money on FOIA requests, a lot of my money to get the same information that should have been available to me to begin with. And I shouldn't have to do that since it's my tax money paying for it.
But this is my thing. There's, you can contact Tristan and get that information.
Went through an FOIA and it took me 9 months to get the information.
Oh, wow.
And I had to go to,
I think
and I had to go
that's-
to, and I had to go to the Attorney General's office and file a complaint against it. And then it took a long time after that.
On the
And-
documentation that's already passed.
I'm telling you, try to get any information from the city can be very difficult.
When I was running for mayor, I sent something to her and it didn't take that long.
Okay,
And I only ran for 3 months.
I'm just,
So I don't know what you're talking
I'm
about.
speaking from experience of asking several times for information. And
Well-
and it's tough to get the information.
When
Why would we not want to have the information that's being presented in a meeting available to us? What's the downfall in that? I don't
It's
see.
not, they're not hiding it, but sometimes it's completely unnecessary.
You think it's
You're not
unnecessary,
gonna
but I don't, I want to know, I may want to see the actual, why this decision was made to spend $100 million on this.
Request the information and you'll get specifically that, but.
No,
for
you won't.
But for you to task somebody, for you to task somebody to do
There were-
everything that's on
They're
a
not
2 hour.
tasking
Hold on,
We're not
let me,
tasking
let me,
anyone. This is just the
let me
information that's already
finish.
available.
Let me finish. For you to ask somebody to provide information on everything that's on the agenda for every 2 weeks and make it
The-
accessible on the website,
The
that's
city
just
the
unnecessary
city council,
data that's
the city
listed.
council gets a packet that's got the information already in it.
And that's,
And there's no reason why that information cannot be made available.
So to,
Barring the fact that it may have,
request information, man.
So would
I'm
it
telling you, I
create
have.
more
Last time I
work?
requested, they wanted me to pay $680 for it.
so the
won't be
council
free.
packet is posted publicly online on the city council page for each agenda. That ranges from, I think, this one, it's only 150 pages, sometimes it's up to 1,000 pages, but it is posted online for every agenda. What council gets is available.
When is it
I'm
posted?
looking at it right now, there's 158 pages for the
I
next
think
meeting.
the last meeting, there were like 900.
Of gold, just solid information.
So when does it post, like, the
Wednesday, so.
one day prior to the meeting?
No, so,
No,
so
Tuesday.
next Tuesday's meeting, that agenda was posted yesterday.
Okay.
6 days prior.
And so
6 days.
so the packet is also available 6 days prior?
Yes.
How long does the
And
packet
then
stay on the
after
site?
the meetings, is there anything that gets presented that's then also posted to the website after?
So,
Or like, and what's the time frame? Like, so when do minutes get posted to the website?
minutes get posted after they are approved at assuming they're approved at the following meeting.
Okay.
They'll be posted when it gets on my list, so usually by the end of that same week that they're
Yes.
approved. The packet itself, the PDF packet, is replaced with each one, but that is just a run of the items in the agenda. So on the agenda that's posted on the website, if you open that agenda, each item is a hyperlink, and that link includes the summary and all the attachments for each item. That stays up. We've had the same system since 2010, so we have up to 2010 posted online.
And that's a policy thing, like, we're already doing that, like, that's just a policy, okay.
So it's another one that we can move on
It's
from.
retention, like your retention policy.
So what they want us to do?
I don't know, it's already
If there's a
existing.
staff presentation, what do we do? Is it posted
Pass on
after
this.
the meeting?
Okay,
Okay, presentations are not
One
posted.
second, sorry.
No, and I think that's a part of what, and for you, Terry,
I'm
I've
like,
asked.
Let's have one
Oh,
conversation.
sorry, hold on a second.
And I've asked a council member for a copy of a staff presentation that I watched at council, and I got it the next day. But I wanted to see the details. I'm sitting there in council listening to the presentation, but I wanted to go back and look at it some more. And the council member sent it to me the next day. It wasn't available online, but I made a request.
But you can, the meetings are recorded as well, so you can go back, but I mean, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
anything in the council meeting, you can go back and look at those presentations as well, right? So
Yes,
I don't
you can
know
go look.
exactly what,
You can go back and look at the presentations, but there's a lot of information in those packets. And I've clicked on those agenda links before and not seen the information. I know y'all saying that it is, but I've clicked on them before to go look, and it gives the summary of it. But I've seen several times, there's no detailed information. I've searched, so it's not, it may be readily available if you know where it's at, but it's not easily findable.
I think there's two components to this. I'm trying to identify here what she's trying to say here. So there's A and B. The first one is the availability of materials to the public, and I think the key part there is the definition of what she's asking for, which is key financial assumptions or calculations, which if you have a proposal on the agenda, they may provide like, hey, we should go build this and, here's what it's going to do. They may not include specifics on, here are the assumptions or budgeting or scheduling that we made to make this decision in the first place on why we need to do it. And I think that's what's missing here is it's specifically requiring specific things to be publicly available. So if there's like city Excel documents that went into calculating or making assumptions on why we need to do something or why we need to spend money, that may not necessarily be in that packet. The packet could just be a presentation or a sales pitch or whatever on a specific agenda. I think this is making sure that the actual backing data is included in that. And then, because it says right there, included in the agenda packet. So we've already talked about the agenda packet. And then the second part is making sure that the city council has enough data ahead of time and they're not getting stuff dumped on them last minute, which is section B there. So it's advanced distribution of major reports.
is that more than 6 days is what they're asking?
She wants 2 weeks.
She wants 2
Okay,
weeks.
so she wants to extend the timeline.
Which-
There's state law component that says it's minimum 6 days. Like,
So
where
it's 3 business days, just to clarification.
Okay,
It has to be
so-
posted within three business days prior to the meeting.
And how many pages did you say it was? typically?
This one is 150.
So I think the pitch here is one, do we want to make sure that the actual calculations that the city is using are available to the public, not just whatever they put in the agenda packet? And then two, do we want to make sure city council has the data early enough that they can actually read it and analyze it and make sure they make the right decisions on it?
But I wasn't here last week physically, but I was online. Isn't this starting to reach back into the same conversation that we denied last month? I think it 100% is.
We weren't on 3 last month.
But it's the same conversation. It's about information that we're trying to get done. Like last month, I think it was something in here trying to put a position in place for somebody to do the information. This is 100% going back. It's like a little, you beating the bush, but it's the same thing. We already voted against this.
No, that's a completely different thing. Last one was
hiring
a
last
position.
Last month, like I say, I wasn't physically here, but I was online watching the whole thing. But the main piece last month, it was trying to get a paid head to get this information done.
That's not what's being pitched here at all.
And the consensus was the information that is provided is sufficient. She just gave you the statement that stated that the information that the council is using to make their decision is readily available 6 days ahead. So we gotta trust that, man. We shouldn't be belaboring the conversation. We just at the beginning of today's session. And this is something I feel like is revisiting what's been happening. Matter of fact, we've had this at least 2 sessions.
I mean, yeah, we keep talking about transparency. Are you against transparency? I don't understand what
This is
different
the
pitches on
transparency.
different things.
Once again, I just got to say it, the information that the council, all 7 council members are using is readily available.
There is
a week
information,
before,
but it's
and that
what
should
we're-
be sufficient enough.
Right, but what
If
we're
there-
talking about is that the right information?
It is.
How do you know that?
Because we've been running this city for a long time, using that information.
Okay, then why are we even here?
To adjust.
We're reviewing the city charter. We've been running the city a long time, so it should be good
over time,
enough.
It adjusts over time, but this one is not one that needs to be fixed. There's a lot that need to be fixed, like for example, me not being able to zoom in.
That's what our job. That's what our job is here. to review
I'd like to
this.
hear if anyone else has any thoughts on this.
So I have a question. If we just think of a timeline, if we say that major reports have to be provided at least 2 weeks prior to consideration whenever practicable. So it says whenever practicable. That's up to interpretation and can run into like, well, that you didn't do it, it was practical, and staff says it wasn't practical because of whatever reason. But what's the timing between I ask for something to be on the agenda, it gets on the agenda, and it's gonna be on the next meeting. Is that, even if we were to say, oh, you have to have these reports done 2 weeks in advance, but then it gets put on the agenda and that compresses your timeline, right? So are we by putting this in the charter, are we gonna tie the hands of our staff, of our city staff, to where they don't even have time based on when we say the charter says, when this charter says they can get things on the agenda, and now we're saying you gotta have 2 weeks in advance. Like, we're really, I think, putting policy, operating procedures in a charter where it doesn't belong.
Well, these are
I think
specific,
principles can be in the charter, but
It doesn't even say major reports, it says
draft materials, well, okay, like, do you want it 90% then? Do you want, it can change materially between a draft 1 and draft 20 and final, like, I just think there's a lot left up to interpretation, and I don't feel like this level of detail belongs in the charter. I think principles belong in the charter, and this is policy.
I think it's time to make a motion
Yep.
one way or the other and then see who votes for and against. Well, okay, I'll vote that we should amend the charter to add this verbiage
On A?
I'll second it.
on A and B, for both A and B.
So the
Yeah.
entire.
Yeah, just
So
to,
these are
I'll move,
recommendations?
And I'll second it.
okay? All in favor,
Well,
yeah,
that's
she's gotta
Lacey's
say,
job.
Lacey's gotta say it.
But I mean, can we not look at them separately between A and B?
Do you wanna look at them separately?
I would prefer to.
Okay, sure,
That's what
A,
they
just
want.
A, I motion that we accept.
Okay,
the changes
so
in
motion A to publicly
To add
make
this to the
available
charter.
presentation materials, supporting documents reasonably relied upon for an agenda item, including summaries of key financial assumptions or calculations shall be included in the packet or otherwise made publicly available prior to council consideration.
Yes.
And if you are amending your motion,
I would like to amend my motion to just be A so that we can do that. Do you still second it?
I'll second that.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
When do we get a question?
You saying that they're voting to add it,
To add it.
voting to add it.
Yeah, correct, we're gonna lose, but I'm just,
Sorry, time's up.
I'm just.
That was my timer on this one.
So we might need to
Did you
do
get
the
the-
call
did
call
you get
for
the
vote
ayes?
again.
So you're gonna do a
Okay, let's
discussion
do-
on this?
Well, and then say.
I'm sorry.
Having discussion in the middle of the vote, guys.
so yeah, we are in the middle of a vote, and I will need to go down the line so that I can catch you who's voting which way.
You want to start? Craig?
Yes.
Nay.
Aye.
Can
Nay.
you, I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Nancy?
No.
Nay.
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 Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
So, slow down just 1 second. And Jamie?
Nay.
Aye.
I have to say nay because I still have a question. But nay.
I'm sorry.
Nay.
She's a swing vote.
Nay.
Listen, the nays have it. But the nays don't have it, just happen.
I believe the nays.
Yeah. I think she did. They're not opting, not doing it.
So do we wanna move on to B? Do you wanna discuss B? It's basic.
I do want to address the couple things here on B in
And so,
that,
just for the record, that was 4 yeses and 9 nos.
we can obviously modify this, it's not, we haven't voted in as is. I think the issue here is that council's getting stuff way
5
too
yeses.
late,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and they don't have time to look at it.
So 6 days is too late.
Yeah, I think it's not, I mean, especially if you have hundreds of pages, thousands of pages.
But you
yeah.
remember, they just met 2 weeks prior.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's on the 14th.
Yeah, so they can read it the entire time in between.
I'd suggest maybe not
Can I get a
2 weeks, but
clarification?
I'd suggest maybe changing it to a week. Because,
It's already
I mean,
6 days.
most of us have gone to college or high school and taken exams, okay? And 150 pages of detailed information. And it's pretty detailed. And these people work also. I mean, they have other jobs, they do other things, they got kids and stuff. To review 150 pages in detail and study it, and all the information, and formulate an opinion, that's like taking a major exam. I mean, anybody that's had to review 5 or 6 chapters of chemistry or something, 100 pages, 150 pages of that, it takes a lot of time to do that in order to be intelligently and able to take that test. Their test is when they get up on that podium and vote for it. They discuss it and vote for it. And it's a wide variety of things they're voting on. It's not like, okay, we're just voting on water this time, we're only voting on this. It's a wide variety of different things they're voting on. And so it's not like a test over chemistry, it's like a test over chemistry, physics, English, a lot of different things that they're having to study up on. 3 days is pretty short. So I think
But it's
a
6
week.
days.
It's currently 6 days.
Is it 6?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's,
I'd
It's
give
double
a-
the mandatory.
if I can just be clear, because it's 3 business days. Has to be posted 3 business days in advance. So
Okay.
if there is a holiday on a Friday, I'm posting it on a Tuesday. If there's no holiday, I'm posting it on a Wednesday. So it's very specifically business days.
I have a question for clarification. If they don't get through all 150 documents, do they have the opportunity to extend it to the next meeting?
They can.
So there is a built-in protection of if I did not read all of the materials and I don't want to just consent to whatever is in front of everyone, I can push it down the
It
line
takes a majority
By
vote.
vote.
by vote.
It takes a majority of the vote. So, I mean, if you got 5 people that want to push it, and one person says, I didn't have time to review this adequately, and the other 5 already, or 4 of them have decided they're going to vote for this, and it leaves that other person not able to make their argument sufficiently because they weren't able to review it because they just didn't have time. And this works on both sides. I mean,
But we also don't
no more-
have full-time,
I mean,
like
that's
council
for all
members.
7
Like,
up
that is
there.
not written in our political system either. So I understand that, but it's also like what you were saying, I'm gonna go back to like, what is the, like, constraints that we're gonna inflict? 6 days, I feel like, is a good amount of time, whereas if, use your magic and talk to your other council members and see if you can, like, win them over to say, can we discuss this in a week or so? Like, it's still politics at the end of the day. I feel like you have to talk to your constituents, you have to talk to your council members, but that gives you the time to work that magic if you don't have enough time to get all the information necessary. So, 2 weeks, that's before the or it's right after the meeting then? Would potentially be it? So you put something on, like, you pass something, it gets reviewed, the staff member have to put it on the next day
So,
with all the information? Is that the correct timeline?
You're gonna do 2 weeks, that's what
Right.
we would be backing into.
So at least now they're getting at least a week to look and research and find the information that's been requested.
did you say that some of these are like 1,000 pages, or I think close to 150?
Said 900.
Yeah, if
I
there's
can believe it.
one of our
And
larger.
that budget
So, I mean, you can't read
Something.
1,000 pages in
Yeah,
3 days,
I
that's
just-
for sure.
I think the more informed, again, I come back to the information, the more informed, when you're talking about millions of dollars, the more informed that the voters that are representing us are voting with, better. And that includes getting more information and being able to consume more information and be able to
I just don't think there's a
Process that
reasonableness in the 2
information.
weeks. I'm not bought, but like the 2 weeks is
I
not
think the 2
reasonable.
weeks isn't realistic.
Yeah,
be-
that's where I'm
because
the
it's
2
right
weeks is not
after.
reasonable.
Could we kind of all
And
agree on
it's-
5 business
it
days?
is
Is that one week?
State law, the 3 days.
State law.
And
3
there's
business days
nothing
is state.
currently in the charter about anything with the time. So we're,
Other than we have to follow the state
that
law.
we have to follow state law. So we're essentially creating
Okay.
a completely new.
Policies change according to who's on that council. Code in here would
Well,
make it
we don't even
for
have a
every
policy,
council.
we're just following state law, so we don't have it ending at all right now.
Yeah, so.
Well, I mean,
think
if we think 2 weeks is too long, can we
Yeah.
agree that 3 days is maybe too short? Can we find somewhere in the middle there?
maybe 7 days
Or, 5 business days, or,
Yeah, 5
something.
business days.
and codify.
But it's currently 6. So when, I'm sorry,
Well,
Tricia.
7 days,
six come
Where-
from?
but
where's
it's
the
not
6 coming
codified.
3
from?
days.
Because it's 3 days, 3 business days.
3 business days is state
So
law.
increase
On
it
a
to 5.
regular week, that equates to 6 calendar days.
Oh.
No, because when we do the council
Let
meeting.
me just add a couple comments. So, one, when I present a contract to council, it's 50 pages. I don't expect that they're gonna read 50-page contract, a legal document. I expect that they're gonna rely on me to say, this is a legal document, and it's gonna do what you wanna do. You're gonna pay for some widgets, and you're gonna get widgets that you want. That's the first thing. Second thing is, I've been doing this a long time, and I've been around really good city managers who have been doing this a long time. they're not gonna try to burden council with a 100-page document that they don't know about 6 days out. I tell council, during my interviews coming here, I said, with large documents, I try to get those out 2 weeks in advance, give you all time to digest it. And I think that's, in general, what good managers and good city attorneys and good staffers are gonna do, particularly if they wanna stay around a while, And there's some built-in trust and some, at the end of the day, council's up here running a business meeting, and you all have mentioned it. They got other stuff going on in their lives. They're volunteers. And they want to come up here and do the people's business and do it as quickly as they can and have as much, they want to have some information, and they want to trust staff to give them the right information, and then trust staff with some opinions, and then they make decisions.
So what are the safeguards on that if the information is wrong or whatever else?
Don't vote them in next year.
Well, for me, they can evaluate me at any time, right? I'm an at-will employee. All it takes is a majority vote, and I'm gone.
Or what if they want to verify it themselves? Like if they need the time.
Well, I
to
think
go
they
through
trust me to to say, hey, and I've seen this too, hey, we're not ready to vote on this. Over the weekend, we got constituent calls, and we have more questions. And that's why I also tell council, hey, give us the questions up front, and then at the meeting, ask us the questions, and we can have done the homework before then. But it's a symbiotic relationship, trusting relationship. We want to do them right. It's a professional relationship. And bottom line, we want to give them as much information as they want, with enough time to review it.
Might I add something that I think as a collective, there's thoughts of making this information earlier than 6 days. You got to realize that staff that you're asking to provide this information, they just got through doing it. Let's say every 2 weeks there's a meeting, basically, right? Second and fourth Tuesday, I think is what it is. And so now they got this one. This is the meeting, and they've given themselves 8 days to prepare all of the information, to bring that close, which is a great task to do. That's a huge feat, and to bring it even further in. Now the staff, Trista and whoever else associated with the budget, Parks and Rec, they now have a shorter window to get the right information. And I think that's a hard thing for us to be asking them to change. It's a short window. I don't even know how they do it. Shout out to you, Trista.
I will point out that this is specifically calling out, it's not saying for everything, it's just saying for specific major.
But there's a notion on the floor to make the information available even longer.
There's no motion right now.
Well, I said notion.
No.
Notion to make the information available earlier than 6 days when we've already exceeded the state level. So
I think
this is just something we just.
I think most people.
Guys,
The
we
information's
spent 10
provided,
minutes debating how long it should be. And I think the more relevant question is, do we even, on any timeline, do people want to actually approve this change, right? We're like haggling over the default 6 days they're gonna get versus, I don't know, 1 or 2 more days, but do you actually think this is, like, I'm asking everyone generally, like, do we think?
Well, calling this out specifically, you're talking about the
calling out
annual,
the major draft reports, yeah.
the annual audit or a capital improvement plan. Those are huge documents that affect the entire year, potentially multiple years. Are we okay with them getting that 6 days before they vote on it?
Time out, do we want them to actually get it before, period? Because I think the question is, does it come out at all right now?
Does it come out? I mean, these are all published documents.
These documents do
By
get
state law, it has to come out.
Yeah, they
No,
coming out.
These documents, like, actually do come out?
Well, these are things they vote on. It's like the capital improvement plan. They'll publish it and they'll
So it's
approve
gonna be
it.
published, by default, if we make no change, all this stuff's available 6 days before.
No. I'm saying it's published afterwards when they approve it.
Oh.
So
But be
the
mindful, like,
items
when
will
is
be
these-
within the council agenda packet.
But you're
It
talking
will
about,
be 6 days in advance.
but this is a capital improvement plan. This is like a 5-year plan for the city. You can't get that in 6 days and be able to vote on it.
Yeah, correct. And then on top of that, a lot of times, like even the best example was this past year's budget.
Again,
That was
I'm
multiple
just-
meetings.
Guys, I'm just trying to align
We need
that
to
by
pass it up.
default today, they will get all of this information.
Yes.
We will get all of this
Yes.
information.
Yes.
6 days before the meeting.
Yes.
So we're arguing about some band between 6 days and 14 days right now.
Yes.
We've just spent 12 minutes
You
arguing.
the one that broke it up. We were trying to not.
No, I asked for
No.
it to be
No,
broken
I
out.
honored a request from someone else.
That's disrespectful.
It's
Yeah.
disrespectful. It's, the main piece is like, just pass it, move on. This is like, we don't want this.
Well, no,
And the
so are
consistency, we
we,
don't want it.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's worth changing it to be like one calendar week, right? Like,
So my issue is here, I totally agree with what
gonna
was
be
being
the
said.
same
If
thing,
it's
I'll
like
be
a
the same.
minor issue, like who cares? You can look at it
Yeah.
3 days. For the capital improvement plan, for the annual audit, these are huge year-long things that you can't vote on that in 6 days. Like,
Well,
that's
and-
not.
But
Aren't
They
they
don't.
being
part of
posted
the
over time?
process, it's
Yeah.
not
It
like-
is, but like you still should make sure that they're at least reading it for more than a week. Like,
Yes, but what I'm saying is the capital improvement plan just doesn't appear since days ahead.
They come and
It's
present.
been worked on
Yes.
for months.
but does the council have
And
access
the
to it?
council has had reports on that ongoing
It's public record.
process. So it's not something that just appears magically.
Yeah.
But
They
it's a
typically
process of
present-
the
they
document
typically
itself.
present one meeting and vote.
somebody needs to make a
So, hey,
motion.
can I ask Trista real quick, so that, like the capital improvement plan, does the council get to see any version of that before you release it to the agenda items?
So I'm not in it, so I don't know the full details of the process, but it does go through like the other commissions, like the Planning and Zoning Commission sees it. Council does receive, it's often in sections of it are in work sessions. So there's other presentations along the way before it gets.
But they don't see the entirety of it until they
I
get the
don't
vote
wanna
on it.
say one way or the other because
Okay.
I
But
don't
also,
know.
like, each
I'm not
commission
in it.
has a review process that they go under, because they have to get, like, I think it's like 3 quotes or minimum for each project, like, there's things built into those commission systems too. So you can look for that information. Is it readily available to constituents? Probably not, if you're not aware of how those systems work in your city, but it is available.
But that would mean the city council would have to reassemble the document if they wanted, to, like, early enough
Well,
to
they would
look
just
at
need to
it.
pay attention to what's going on in the commission. Like, they could go to those meetings if they're really interested,
Or read the minutes.
or read the minutes, yeah.
So, I honestly, I don't know if I'm ready to quite make a motion yet, but here's what I'm thinking, is that I can appreciate what Councilmember Ryan is trying to put forth here, and I value that. I feel that this does not belong in the charter because there are too many pieces that are ambiguous and left up to interpretation on what's considered major, what's considered draft, what's considered, practical. I think that's too ambiguous to go into a charter.
Okay, so are you making a motion?
So that's what I'm thinking, and I don't know if there's more discussion that needs to take place, but if not, I will make a motion aligned with that.
Would it make sense to pitch this as tell city council to make a policy on this?
I think we could pitch it as a policy of trying to put something, like clarifying and
What and
making
when,
it, like, what is happening here, so that, look, someone has expressed the need. How is it addressed? Let's talk about that, but it doesn't belong in a charter in my belief.
Then somebody make a motion, make it a policy.
So, okay, I'll make a motion that we advise city council to develop a policy, clearly defining how early city council gets specific major documents.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Me. Nay.
One. Okay.
It needs to be completely passed.
Okay, so now we're actually moving on.
Excellent.
Where I thought we were starting, so, okay. So let's move to item 3C, discuss and consider action regarding recommendations for possible amendments to City Charter Article 7, Initiative and Referendum.
So I
Do
hate
we
to
have
throw
a
another monkey
602?
wrench in, but we got a 6 on here.
Oh, shoot.
6:02.
We cannot talk about that because it's not on the agenda.
Yeah.
It's not on the agenda.
My question on that is, I think we did have this come up before and we moved it to somewhere that actually would be on the agenda, but I don't remember which one this would qualify for. Or was that through last month?
We're just not on the agenda. Let's keep going.
But didn't we talk about this
We can
being
bring it
somewhere
up
else?
on a future agenda.
We talked about that.
No, but I think we moved this
Pretend
to, or we already resolved this, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's when we just motioned. Yep. Yes.
We can bring it at the end when we talk about the agenda.
Okay, so we can't talk about this, we're gonna move to 7, yes? Okay. 7.03, we have a recommendation for an amendment on 7.03 for a petition signature requirements. Looking to change, it's to get at least 5% of voters, it's currently 25%, is that correct?
No.
15. Or 15%. So to change from 15 to 5%.
But this is what I'm saying, isn't this supposed to be here?
What is supposed to be where?
Well, I'm saying, isn't the 6.2 the same as the 7.3 we're talking about?
One is about a recall and one is about a petition.
Okay.
I'm just going on, based on the
So-
agenda.
Yeah, so
article.
7.3 is okay, it's okay, there was just a question about
Yeah.
that.
I'd like to,
Family, didn't
Point
we
out
talk about
that-
this in the move forward already?
So it's, I'm sorry, what?
We talked about this like 2 meetings ago.
No, but that was.
That was about the
this is
recall.
about petitions.
This is for signatures.
I thought we did signatures
Petition
too.
signatures.
I thought we did signatures too.
Was it all of them?
Yes, we did all of
Signatures.
it. We did the entire discussion.
Well, we haven't
So there's-
gone
there-
through Article 7
There's
yet.
two
There's
different
some on
articles.
7.
So Article 6 last meeting was recall of officers, which requires a petition. And then Article 7 is initiative and referendum, which also includes petition discussion.
But we talked about
So-
both of them.
no, we didn't.
Okay, so we have a
At the
a recommendation from a council member to look at it in section 7 to lower the petition threshold from 15 to 5%. To extend the cure period to 28 days.
Are we doing both 703 and 704
Let's do
together?
7.03. Okay.
I'd like to point out that for, and this comes up later on in here, by state law, I believe to change the charter is 5%.
Yeah.
Okay? And so that kind of sets a precedence for petitions, in my opinion, that the state has said, okay, we're going to change the most important document at the city by 5% vote, petition gathering. To have a less important document require 15% seems disingenuous. I think the 5%. I think the 5% is stays in line with what the state's already requiring for petitions. And so for initiative, referendum, non-binding referendum petition, I don't think it should require 10% more than what it takes to change the most important document of the city, the Constitution of the city,
Which is 5%?
which is 5%.
But at 15%, you're gonna have more awareness.
15% is a lot of people, other
Exactly.
registered
That's the
voters.
You're gonna have more awareness.
You're making it harder for the people, again, whose money it is and who they're
No,
representing.
But it's already at 15%. They're trying to lower it to 5.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's already been at 15%, it's been working.
And we're talking about lowering it down to what the state requires for changing the charter. And I don't think to changing a referendum, it should take 10% more of the voters than it does to change the charter.
But when you talk at a state level, you're talking more head count.
No, the state, no,
That's why it's
no,
at
no.
15.
The state regulation is for the cities to change a city charter. It's 5%. It's not state level. It's 5% of the registered voters in a city is required to change a charter. That's the law. I know. I've got a petition that I'm working. And so to change something that's not as important, it require 10% more than voters.
So
That's,
we talked about this, we did talk about this. So we said should be 10%. We've talked about 10% being okay. We were agreed on that.
that was on the recall.
No, we also said when we talk in a future meeting
We
about
did.
this, that we would
Yeah.
agree on making those two the same percentage. So in its current form, 10% is recall, we would then come to this amendment and change it to 10%
Re-
to
re-
match.
Well, and I would disagree with that, because recalling a council member to take their job away needs to take a higher percentage than something that's an initiative referendum or a non-binding referendum.
I
And
think
so,
it being all fair and equal.
recall an official and make them lose their job, it should take a higher percentage than a mere petition for initiative referendum or non-binding referendum.
Just for reference, we have 45,000 voters, give or take, so 10% would be 4,500.
I think that's appropriate at 10%, 4,500.
I agree with
I agree with 10, but I don't agree with 5.
Yeah, you just start.
I looked at some
10% is
other,
also what the ISD requires to have.
10?
10?
Does anyone want to make a motion?
I motion that we change from 15 to 10%.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Wow.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Moving on, all right.
Sorry.
No, we met halfway.
He's good.
I was like, in 5 more years, Terry.
You bid low and you settle for it.
We're moving the line.
Middle, right.
All right, 7.04 is giving,
I got one on 3 real quick.
oh, you got one.
Yeah, so this is just really quick, hopefully. This is basically saying that our current charter has specific requirements that are basically somewhat of a duplicate of state requirements. And this is basically just saying, remove those from our charter and just defer to state, requirements for, what is a valid signature and, an affidavit. And then, I also have the thing in there for 4, but we can skip that for now. And then, also saying that if it's declined, the city secretary would provide a written notice specifying the total signatures that are valid, total submitted, total invalid, and how many additional number are required. And that technical defects do not affect the signature validity.
You're gonna go over the pencil situation too?
Yeah.
Pencils again?
Completely not cover that?
Indelible, yes.
But that would defer that, hopefully that's on the state. Theoretically, that would be on the state.
I'm just surprised you didn't include it.
My question is, why isn't this covered by,
Which one?
why isn't this already covered?
So this is basically just saying, instead of specifying like how the signature should be done, we just refer to this Texas state law. Because then we could have the issue where Texas state law changes and we have something that contradicts with that. And I'll defer a little bit to the attorney here on whether that's a good idea or not, but.
I think it's a great idea. I think anytime. I'm trying to think. I think most times when you can refer to state law, some set of guidelines, because that it's going to trump arguably what you have here, or to give people clarification. I think that's better practice, better governance. I was looking what we did in my old city, and we just referred to the petition requirements pursuant to state law.
Okay.
And I apologize, I was looking at the wrong place.
So, do we have to come up with that wording right now?
I think he can.
Make a motion, and I'll come
That's what
back.
I'm wondering. Okay, so we can make that motion.
That's where the
Okay.
magic happens. And
Okay,
then I'll
perfect.
get it to you next time, or before the next meeting.
All right, well, I make a motion that we change it to defer to state law for section. And remove the pencil. For 7.
Indelible.
Was this 3? Yeah.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
And I apologize. Jamie, did you second?
I second.
Okay, thank you. And was removing the pencil within your motion, Sam?
Sure. I assume it's part of the.
Boy, y'all was something else. We went round and round and round to remove that person, y'all didn't want to do it. I always say, think about it, think to do it.
Well, if we're changing it anyway, might as well move it.
Was it because I asked or what? I don't know.
Well, I think it's-
I tried to get rid of the
We're agreeing with
I was like,
Jolly.
no, let's keep the pencil.
Dolly, I can cure them.
No, I said there was no reason to remove it, but if we're changing it to be anyway.
Yeah, it's all getting moved, so, yeah.
Okay.
It's just to recommend it.
I hear you, Jolly.
I had to look it up and everything. Now everybody's like, oh, this rules.
Part of your document also.
I didn't want a ballot item
Yeah,
for
so I was gonna
saying
kind of skip
pencil
that
only.
until,
We
Do we
can
wanna
have
take a
one
break?
conversation at a time.
I feel like
Yes.
motion for a break?
Oh.
You can just call her.
Yeah, let's take a break, 10 minutes?
Yes.
10 minutes.
I felt like it got a little chaotic.
We lost people.
7:26.
Okay, so we're moving to, we're still on 3C, right? Yes. Okay.
No, we're on 7.
We had 3C on the agenda.
I fell asleep
Yeah.
and I had a dream where we were all the way to 9.
Oh,
It'll
I
come
can't
true
think
at
that far
10
in the
o'clock
future.
tonight.
meeting's back in session. Okay. So 7.04, we have a amendment proposal to extend the period for filing supplemental petition signatures from 2 weeks to 4 weeks following notice of insufficiency.
The question is, what's the state law on that?
Yeah.
Which section?
Section 7, it's 7.04.
How much, notice for insufficiency for petitions?
We're currently in our charter, it's 10 days, but I believe the question is what's the state?
Yeah, so we were talking about moving to 4 weeks. Is there a state issue with that, or is
Are we looking at,
704?
Councilmember Ryan's?
Yeah,
Yeah.
7.04.
So she does it for the position 27704. And I was just talking to
Well, we just resolved that, I think. We just resolved that in the last motion because we just, we would spend,
Yeah, I think so, and.
but I think we're
just-
talking about
just so you-
the first section of that where it says moving it from 2 weeks to 4 weeks. Is there an issue with that on the state law?
I think we need to confirm what that section is.
Is there a limit?
I'd have to see what state law, I don't think state law addresses that issue, but I'd have to see. And then this 277004, that says that you can't do anything in your charter that conflicts with state law, except if your charter was in existence by September of 1985. And so I'd have to look and see when we had that provision in our charter.
I think the question I have, is there a domino effect by making it longer? Meaning, you know what I mean? So does that mean we have paperwork that need to be turned in earlier?
Tristan, what is your process on that, on those?
So I've never received a petition, so my process is theory.
How long have you
Not
been
practice.
here?
What's that?
How long?
9 years?
Oh.
Should we get back to 5%, guys?
Stop.
I say extend it.
So,
You say she already did the legwork?
so anybody that's done petitions, I know several of us in here have. It's one of the pitfalls of doing a petition, you get a lot of people that sign it aren't eligible. And so those are knocked off when they're validated. And if it's you're talking about 10%, 5,000 people, that could mean 800 signatures, 1,000 signatures, possibly. I mean, if you have a bunch of people from ETJ signing something that's for the city only. And to get that many, often door to door get signatures, it's tough. And sometimes if you have your group that's out there getting signatures, and then all of a sudden, you turn that petition in, and it's invalidated for 800 signatures, 500 signatures, you gotta regroup all your people, get them back out there, and start getting new doors and stuff. And 2 weeks is a pretty short time to do that now. I know that we got a 6-month window on any petition that's got to be done. And I think this is where if you turn, I believe, this is if it's still in the 6-month window and you turn it in 3 months or 4 months at that point. Essentially, you'd have 3 to 2 months more to get the petition, but you went ahead, you thought you had enough signatures and turned it in. It was invalidated, 800 signatures. Now they say you only got 2 weeks instead of 3 months. That you could go with that. So extending that to 4 weeks, I don't see any negative effect of that. Because once the signatures are already been validated, all the secretary has to do is validate the new signatures that were gotten. And so it wouldn't be any really extra work, and it would allow for the public who out there working hard to try to get something changed.
What does the Secretary of State documentation say? There's got to be a Secretary of State conversation related to elections. Like, for example, we raising signatures for ACC to get back on the ballot. If we,
Well,
that's
ACC
still,
is not a city.
but it's still, I'm just using that as an example. I'm using that example because it's the Secretary of State still regulate elections.
Well,
And so,
as the second part of this already says, anything that conflicts with the Texas election code.
but that piece, you know what I'm saying?
That's our,
We might just need to look that up because it's like we clearly want to stay within the bounds of SOS.
attorney here, said he doesn't think there's anything in there that's right.
I don't see nothing in here.
Yeah, because it's like this. The one that she referred to is like generic about life, not this conversation. But what I'm saying is, if this is definitely one that we can't detour from the Secretary of State elections policies because it's still election related.
Well, the state's gonna trump anything that the city puts in, first of all. I mean, so, but
I
if
just
it,
don't
but,
know what that is. So if we're lying right now, I think we need to stay.
So right now, we have it in our charter, this is 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And what does the Secretary of State say?
Well, unless it says we can't do 2 weeks, or you can't do 4 weeks, which I don't think it does.
Because it seems like there's a.
I think the state says 6 months, I think is what it says, and it doesn't specify a period of time. I mean,
By that time, election.
again, I'm not an attorney,
We have one.
but our attorney already mentioned that he didn't think that it was in there. And so I don't think it mentions extending the period of time where you've turned the thing in, and the signatures are invalidated, a certain number of them are, they give it back to you and you go out and get more signatures. I don't think the state goes into that.
Is giving them 4 weeks to go get the signature. Doing all that work to get all the signatures. Yeah, they cut it down. You're under by 2 votes.
But if they submit it like 2 weeks before the 6-month deadline, they're only gonna get 2 weeks anyways.
Yes, because
No
the
matter
6 months
what.
is gonna,
Yeah.
you got a 6-month window, and that's a
Anyone
move.
who does their due diligence
Now-
early,
now-
they get the additional extension of a month versus those who wait last minute.
Now, one thing that could make a difference is you got a 6-month window from the time you get your first signature to the time you get the last, okay?
Right.
And so, say 2 weeks before you turn it in, it's invalidated, okay? You go 4 weeks, normally you would only get 2 weeks, but what if you dropped off the first 2 weeks of that signature path in order to get more signatures at the end?
And get them re-signed as a new signature?
Because I know, like I said, when we were fighting toll roads with the Austin Toll Park,
Right.
we had 30,000 signatures that we had to get, or 34,000 signatures we had to get. I was out there, the first person getting signatures on that. Literally, I was the first person out on my hike and bike trails. First 2-3 weeks, it was me and Sal Castillo. We didn't get very many signatures on those first 2-3 weeks. Then we recruited 150, 200 people to start getting signatures. So we moved that window and dropped off those first 3 weeks. It was just me getting those signatures, and then moved it to where we had a whole bunch of people and did it.
You can
Now that
extend
could
it
affect,
6
now
weeks.
that could affect this 2 to 4 week thing, as far as that goes, as far as moving. So I don't know if, once you've turned it in, you've set that window,
Right.
I would think.
Yeah, so I guess my question, so I don't hear of anybody really fighting, right? Maybe Greg Garrett gets it, but like, we're just saying, once you've turned it in, if they come back and say you need more signatures because we validated these, we're just saying, give people 4 weeks to do that instead of 2.
And I'm questioning why the people doing signatures didn't automatically get 20% extra signatures, knowing that that's part of the
You-
process.
We kept it at 10% instead.
You can, I mean,
But at 10%, if I'm getting 5,000
I wasn't
signatures, I'm
serious,
gonna
Karen.
add another
I was
1,000 or
just
so.
That was just joking.
Okay.
I'd like to.
As a note, the reason why it's not referring, I think they're not giving the extension. I have not read it thoroughly, so let me just be honest with you. But the way it says is like you have the privilege to turn your signature is 10 days before the deadline, and if you don't, and they review them, and then from that time to the actual deadline, at that point you got time to get the.
No, you don't, you won't get extended beyond the 6 months. There's no way you could do that. That's
No,
state
not
law.
6 times. It made it seem like they don't even have an extension at all.
That's state law.
Does
You can't
everybody
give it.
understand what we're, like, does anyone want to discuss? I feel like we understand.
I think we got it, so we should just make,
We
somebody
spoke.
should make a motion.
Yeah.
So,
To extend it.
Do we wanna extend it?
Yeah,
I don't want to extend it.
there's no
You
negative.
can, you can vote either way.
This is one of those situations where I'd like to table it for greater information.
I don't see any negative to extending it.
I do.
I don't either.
As long as
Do you have
it's
something to
not-
add
I
to
just
this
wanted to
state
add,
law?
at least from what co-pilot's telling me, that the state law does not set like a statewide duration for municipal petitions. So we can set it to what we want. According to co-pilot, Round Rock has 10 business days, which is crazy.
2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks, but that's.
2 weeks.
That's what we have.
I just
I guess
wanna-
it's what we have. But that right there, like, made me think, wow, that feels really tight. So that's my reaction to this.
Round Rock's doing it.
No, well, it doesn't, I don't care, Round Rock, whatever. But other places do 3 to 4 weeks, so.
I'm just looking at what is this 100% from the law the one that she just mentioned, 277.0023. And it clearly says, generally a petition may not be supplemented, modified, amended after the date it is filed.
It's not
That is directly from the website. 227.002.
What petition does that refer to?
It just says petition. It says it's a supplementing a petition.
But we're not supplementing.
And this is about you because it's the insufficient signatures.
But there's a process, once a petition has been submitted with the signatures, the way I understand is that once it goes through that validation period, if it's deemed to not have enough signatures that were valid, you have a period of time, currently 2 weeks in our charter, to go get additional signatures.
So
So that's what we're trying to talk about. Do we want it to be 2 weeks? Do we want it to be 28 days as proposed, or some other time period that we agree upon?
I got one other thing on this too. I don't know if this is part of the same conversation or not, but we also maybe should add that technical defects that don't actually affect the validity of the signature should not invalidate the sheet.
What would be a technical defect?
Well, like if there's some weird,
This
Yeah.
was straight.
It wasn't a magic pencil.
Indelible pencil.
I think like if they changed the wording
I'm reading-
after it was launched,
am I reading it right?
That would be a
Yeah, it's like
Right.
it's like it specifically says
So-
like and it goes deeper into it like number 2.
Is that 4 or 10?
No, it's just basically according to the Secretary of State, it clearly states there's nothing to be added or subtracted.
So legal.
Is that a
After
state
the date.
petition or is that a
It's a
city
state.
petition?
It's Secretary of
Can we get
State.
legal
So,
to
so,
weigh in?
yeah, I'd like to ask legal, if what he's saying is correct,
We need to change it to that.
then this would be against state law, what we have right
2
now.
and
And
4.
what Round Rock
No,
has.
because you can have
Because you
cities,
just read different
so you have state law, and then cities add some, if you will, an extra process,
Exceptions.
extra protection to validate a petition by giving the supplemental period to do it. State law says, Harrington's correct, but it says unless expressly authorized by law. Well, charter's a law, and so we have this process set up. But if you go to the second part of that, 2277.0023, this is what the state law says, right? If a petition is required to be filed by a specified deadline, the petitioner may file one supplementary petition, but here's the condition.
By the deadline.
They have to exceed the signature total by 10%.
Oh, so now they have to go 20%.
Yeah, and so you have to, not all the signatures have to be valid, but you've got to exceed it by 10, that's kind of this threshold to make sure, I guess,
So then
everyone's
they do need
good
4
faith.
weeks then.
Yeah, she needs 4 weeks. I mean.
That's what state law says. Our charter doesn't say that.
For doing
And then
your
go-
way.
Would that apply to us or would that, would our
And then
charter
go
be
to
able
that
No, your
Yeah,
our
because if you got
charter,
the 15%, you would have 10%.
And then go to that very next part, that very read number 2 that it basically says it can't even be filed and it must have been filed 10 days before the deadline.
right.
So it's like what we're doing for 2 weeks is, if it's our rule,
I think we should stamp it.
then so be it. But extending it that much
What's
further,
the negativity of extending it? I mean, we're talking about the people's voice. What's the negativity of extending, and this can be any petition from, not ACC, but
Yeah,
something
ACC.
similar, right? It's not I'm not saying it's a petition for this or petition for that.
I think
It's
we're
a
ready
people's
to.
voice. What's
No,
negative?
he's still talking. If he's still talking,
One more question.
and if he's still talking, I think it's fair for him to continue versus somebody trying to interject to try to get him to shut up. But the main thing is, to answer your question is, even in our example, I think they've studied this enough outside of just Pflugerville with the thousands of things passed from city to city, council to council, county to county to county. This is consistent, and so it helps us to stay within the bounds of that, because eventually you extend it 2 weeks to 4. Then you even mentioned out to 6. By the time 6 the election's over, and now you got a special election just for the signatures. So now you got the domino effect of, we got enough signatures. Now are we allowed to do a special election? So I just feel like just make it consistent and align with what somebody who's really thought about this.
Well, that we are the ones thinking about it. That's our duty here, is to think about it.
Damn, they did way more things.
No.
I think we know where, let's move on. We have.
Yeah, currently in our charter, it says within 10 days. What are our thoughts on adding an insert there within 10 business days? Because that would actually increase our time.
I think it's a different section.
You're talking about the certification by the city. That's different from what they're doing.
Yes,
He's saying
that's
like
their
if we need 4,000 signatures, he's asking instead of giving a 2-week extension to get more signatures.
I'd like to propose a motion. I would like to make a motion that we accept the verbiage here that says section 7.04 is amended to extend the period for filing supplemental petition signatures from 2 weeks to 4 weeks following notice of insufficiency.
Can we add the technical defects thing?
And
All those in
adding
favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Did you get my addition?
I'm with the will of the body though,
Technical
but I want to go on record that I
The
said no.
technical detail, any circulated affidavit requirements that conflict with Texas election code, including
won't have
section 277.004, are removed to ensure compliance with state law.
Yeah,
So everything that was recommended.
No, but the other one here too, the technical defects don't affect signature validity. That's on the other sheet, but on my side.
We're ignoring yours.
Okay, we are moving to agenda item 3D to discuss.
I got another one on 7, sorry guys. I'll try to keep this one quick.
Okay, sorry.
It's 16. So basically, right now, you can do a charter amendment with the city council, you can do a charter amendment here. This is basically saying, if enough signatures sign a document, they can also add something to the charter election, on the charter election. So I don't have a strong opinion one way or another here, but I thought it's something we could consider.
Could you
I know it's specific to the charter, but why?
Well, that's a good question. Can a petition put something on the charter election?
Yes.
You can?
Yes, the state law says that it takes 5%
then
of the voters
take this back then.
to petition.
16. I'll withdraw it, all right. Fastest one so far.
Okay, we're ready to move on to 3D to discuss and consider action regarding recommendations for possible amendments to City Charter Article 8, boards and commissions.
Okay, so I got one for this, if there is nothing else. I'm gonna bring up the Technology and Surveillance Oversight Board again, so it is a board instead of a policy, where I'm basically, proposal 4, sorry. So I'm basically proposing that every city council member gets to appoint one person to a board, and this board is responsible for covering the city's policies on like AI surveillance, any sort of technology that might require personally identifiable data. And this board would not have authority to control it, but they would analyze the city's policies on it. They would make recommendations to city council to vote on. And they would keep and monitor all the existing systems that the city uses, providing recommendations on changing any policies on bulk collection of data, long-term retention of personal data, who owns personal data, basically making sure the city has the policies that it needs to handle all the new AI technology and any of this, like automated license plate readers and things like that. So the flock cameras would be a perfect example of this. We would make sure, this board would basically be responsible for making sure what the policies are on with flock, do they have access to our data, what they're allowed and not allowed to do. They would provide a recommendation to city council would vote on it. This board would create one overall policy that applies to everything, and then for each individual piece of technology that is recommended to be used, they would provide a specific use case recommendation to city council. And then city council would basically vote for the technology specifically, that specific one, and then also for the use case proposal that the board would put forward.
No, because we already discussed this in depth.
And your solution was to let the IT guy handle it.
That's exactly what I said. Because they're way more thorough. Even me having an IT background, they're way more thorough than me. So let them handle it. We already discussed this and voted it down.
We voted down putting it in the charter.
Yeah, we put it in the charter.
Can we make it a council recommendation then? Because
Well, we have to create a board, so that's why
They
it's in
want
the
a
charter.
new board.
And then the board would be recommending to council. So the council still votes on it, but the board is basically doing the legwork for them.
So how do we handle technology now?
We don't have anything on it.
You have an IT
Well, hold
department.
on, that's a question I'm
No, no,
asking
yeah.
Trista. Hold on.
We
Don't
have,
ask me.
yeah, we have an IT department.
We have an IT department.
And I do want to clarify, boards can be created outside of the charter
Oh,
as well, just to
Yeah.
clarify.
I thought we did discuss this.
We did in depth.
We
Yeah,
discussed putting the
Councilmember
actual language.
Kaufman made a recommendation, but I can't remember all the details. Does the new?
It was
I can
really,
give you the. I can give you
It was to codify it ourselves.
yeah, it was to put in the charter these same types of things, but not as a board,
board.
but as actual codified charter law. Of like, this is what we would want, and I believe our discussion was around that actually, makes it too specific and not
Right.
adaptable as the future needs would.
This is saying that the city council still has the authority. We're not trying to come up with the rules ourselves. We're just saying a board is created that they get to make recommendations to city council and they decide what
Can
the
a
rules
board
are.
That's
be
just kind of
crea-
twisted what we already voted on.
But
Well, we voted on the
No, we
policies
voted that we
themselves.
didn't want the policy, or we didn't want to modify the charter
Correct.
to be explicitly saying these things about how this technology works in our city, but we are now saying that we could create in the charter a board that could help give recommendations on this.
We can also
I
have the
said-
board
I-
created
we-
first, and then the next charter review committee can then enact it.
Make it
Well, that
a
would be
hard
5
copy
years,
charter.
that would
Like
be 5 years down the line.
Right,
Yeah.
but still, we could push for us as to recommend that option, see what the push and pull is, what happens within, if it's an effective board, if it's actually a resource that's necessary before we actually put it in our constitution.
An alternative to that would be give city council the chance to do it themselves and do this as a recommendation.
So that's what, I think that's where I was going.
That's
Can
what
I-
you're saying.
Yeah.
I would like to review real quick, so from the January 8th meeting, action was taken for a charter amendment in Article 2. For the city shall adopt protections governing the collection, use, retention, and oversight of data, facial recognition, and surveillance technologies, establish transparent approval processes for such technologies, require a responsible AI framework, ensuring this information is used locally for legitimate basis laid down by law. So that was a proposal for charter amendment.
Summation is that you're saying that the city covers that task.
No, we're saying that we originally proposed that we change the charter to say this specifically. That's what we voted down.
But who's the action for? The city, correct?
The council, the council
Council.
adopts these
Oh,
things
so
and
we
then the
already-
city staff.
Oh, so we've already addressed this. That's what I was getting to. Like it's like I get it, man. We got to start at the end of the day, family.
You got a game on later.
We have to accept the
these
will of the
specific
body
rules, we're gonna put them in
instead
the
of
charter.
trying to read.
I like
This
the
is saying we're
idea
just gonna
of
put it
having.
forward.
I like the
They determine the rules.
I like the
recommendation.
idea of having a city like, community members,
I like
looking
the
at it.
idea of there
Community
being a
members are
board.
not qualified.
I like the recommendation.
But they're making
that-
recommendations, it doesn't mean that they
Doesn't
have to
mean
take
they're
the
making the
action. They
decisions.
still have to make the decisions, it's just, hey, it's
And
getting,
we do
it's a,
have
they're a
community
point of the
members that have
community.
a lot of expertise we may not,
You know who else does?
who,
The IT team. Yeah, and they could,
That's getting paid
and we
to
could
do
have an
this
IT
every
person
They
that's on the
can
board
be-
too.
part of the.
And they've been validated.
Okay, I
But
will
you can
say,
also have an IT head that doesn't believe that any of that needs to take place. I'm not saying that's the case currently. I'm just saying
They
you
go
could have an
analog.
IT leader that's like, it's not important.
Or,
I'm also going to
or
address.
I want to use that information myself.
I thought you were kidding with the IT guy, but this is a completely different department than the IT. The IT guy department plugs in the Ethernet cables and determines the things we use. What we're talking about here,
Not true.
what we're talking here is, I mean, they do a lot. No, I'm not.
Not true.
I'm not saying anything about
You
IT guys.
talk to
I'm saying
IT
they're
guy.
doing the physical work of the hardware and the software, and they would install the system. But what we're talking about here is like civil liberties protections that require like actual, like, are you violating somebody's rights? Which the IT department has no
All of
qualification on
that,
whatsoever.
all of that goes into the IT team. The way it really
The
legitimately
IT
works,
guy is not a trained attorney, and he's not a criminal
1000%
justice
they-
lawyer.
1000% that goes into the conversation. Because whenever you're doing these
Yes.
kind of,
No,
when
the
you're
IT
doing
guy,
this
I don't know.
level
I think Fox
of whatever, cybersecurity, let's just call it cybersecurity. You have specialists
Yes.
who, and when I say cybersecurity, is on a whole nother level. You have specialists who know what they're doing on a daily basis. We got to trust them.
No.
And more importantly,
No.
and more importantly,
No, we don't have to
and
trust them.
You do have to trust them
No, we
because at the end of the day, this is what they do every day.
You're
They're
acting like they're-
certified.
Your assumption is that all IT people are honest, upstanding citizens that respect everybody's civil rights. That's not true.
That's
Okay,
not
let's
true.
let, Craig would like to speak. He's been raising his hand. He's so
To
polite.
me, it sounds like the dynamic power, what is the dynamic power of the IT department? Are they the CTO of the entire city, or are they just doing the menial, or where are they in the, how much freedom of choice do they have? And that's kind of what I'm gonna ask, like, how much freedom do they have in making decisions, or are they really just doing exactly?
They doing their
For the
job.
most part, to me, I
It's
imagine they're
supposed
just
to be
doing what the city's telling you to, and that's,
That's it.
and so,
That's
and
it.
they might have some freedom in like, okay, let's just, I'll be talk to the city council, can we do this? I don't know how much freedom they have, but it's not like they own their own business, it's us.
But again,
So,
the IT
because we
department.
have the so they're not the freedom that you're saying, it's not, they don't have the freedom that it sounds like you're expanding on that they can have, but I don't think it's as low as just plugging in, of course.
No,
I know you don't
that's
do
not what I'm
that,
saying.
but yeah, but there's a point where I feel it's closer to that they just have to do the main parts, and they can make recommendations, hey, there is a cyber threat, there's whatever's going on, we have to do these things, but they can't just make, they can't make decisions to start adding things and purchasing or whatever.
Let me simplify this down.
So,
The IT
yeah, not
department, if we get, let's say, a flock
For
camera,
the city.
the IT department is gonna be responsible for installing those cameras and making sure they're working, and that, they're not gonna know what, if we're recording every license plate that goes through town and tracking that to an individual person, they're not gonna know whether that's a good or bad policy. That is
Right.
not
That's
within
not
their
true.
purview.
First off,
That's
first
100%,
off,
that's not true.
If they're IT and they're paid by our city, they can't be on the board.
I'm not saying that they should be the board. I'm saying to let IT handle the security of the city.
Oh,
That's what I'm
we're-
saying.
I
I'm saying.
lost-
So
I
let
lost
me
the
let
plot
me
then,
let me
because
tell
I
you.
thought we were talking about us determining if we were going to bring up a consideration of a board or not what our what is happening in an IT department. I just want to get back on track.
What I'm
'Cause I
saying-
understand what you're saying, but if we propose a board, they can't be on this board because they work for
No, I
the city.
never. I agree. I'm just saying.
Is the clarifying there?
Let me
This
try
is-
to say back to you what I think your position is, because I've heard you say it many times now. And that is, you're saying that the IT department is the group that should make all the judgments and decisions about whether or not the civil rights of the citizens are being violated by privacy. So you're just saying, trust the IT people, leave them to it, right?
1000%.
Okay, that's what you're saying, cool. And I think what everyone else who's arguing with you is saying is they don't agree with that. And
Not everybody.
well, okay,
Just a few.
several folks,
Opinion of
several.
dissent.
One or two.
There's dissent, where there's not alignment. And so,
Dissent.
the idea is, some other people are saying, hey, maybe it's a good idea to just recommend to the council that they establish a commission that would, like, or a board, or whatever, actually like go and consider these things and make recommendations back to the council. And so I think Sam's initial proposal was, let's amend the charter to say there will be a board or a council. And I think really the three options are, one, leave it to the IT department, two, make the charter amendment, or three, just make a recommendation that they set up a board that considers this.
All right, let me
And
say what
that's
I was
like
gonna
checks
say,
and
'cause I
balances,
think-
and that's the thing. It's a checks and balances of the community.
Well, but those are the three
And that's how I'm seeing that.
Let me come back
seeing
to
that.
where life really is, because where we're doing
Greg,
this.
I don't agree.
No, let me speak. I'll let you speak, bro. So this is where it happens. There's people in this conversation that's not IT. And I think too many conspiracy theories have been spewed in this discussion. So the first thing is, things that an IT person does not have specialty in, they do not go to the community to find that answer. They go to the specialties of cybersecurity. Hold up, let me speak. Let me speak. There are organizations that specialize in a community, a business, or whatever, will hire that team to hack them. I'm gonna repeat that. To hack them. We're paying you to find out vulnerabilities so we can fix them. That is not a community conversation. That is somebody that's very knowledgeable. This is not just a Tom, Dick, and Harry that's my friend, which is how I got on this board.
Greg,
No, let me speak. Let me speak. But the reality of it all is, for us to just deny the level of expertise that a CTO office, the entire IT team has, is asinine. Because they have a huge responsibility for the city. And so to act like you need to get a oversight of community people, they're disqualified, bro.
But I think people are concerned about it, and if you put a board in place, it would help the community to feel like they are being.
It's fake.
Greg, the problem is this is not an
But
IT department. This is
Can we
not.
let Lacey finish because, like, or, yes?
I was on the Parks and Rec board. I am definitely not an expert in any of the things that are dealt with by our Parks and Recreation Department. I was there as part of oversight to make sure that whatever the professionals were doing fit with our community values. There were 7 of us, so we had a pretty broad spectrum of people who could say, yes, we will think more playgrounds would be great, because we're in a community with lots of kids. We're not in an adult 55 community where we don't need playgrounds. So I think having a board of people who are looking at how it fits into community values is something that would be beneficial to the whole community and not something that's taking anything away from the professionals working in any particular area. And unless there's more discussion, I would like to make a motion that we accept the proposal to recommend to the council that they create a technology, I forget the exact wording we used, but technology and surveillance oversight board, but not propose it as part of the charter.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
And y'all thought I was gonna be the rebel.
I need a little bit of clarification. Who seconded the motion?
I did.
Thank you. And then I have Gregory and Jolly as nays. Correct. Thank you.
Everybody got it.
Yeah, Jolly. I like the quiet.
Okay, moving along. All right, we are on agenda item 3E to discuss and consider action regarding recommendations for possible amendments to City Charter Article 9, Budget and Financial Administration. It's gonna be a doozy. Budget and Financial Administration. 3E. Okay, so,
think Melody is the first one.
Yep. Councilmember Ryan, we should be at 9.03, the annual budget amendment proposal.
Oh, in the back. That's the three. Government been busy.
This has crossover with my proposal 13 as well.
We don't have one.
We don't have one.
I have some people that I recommend, but I don't know if they use it. I don't know what the process is.
She don't.
So, she-
I tried to call her.
Do you have any finance people in here?
Yeah, I can tell she's financed.
Yes, she is.
I financed it.
So
Can you?
it seems,
I'm not IT, so I'm not finance. So.
it seems to me that she's trying to,
She's trying to.
she's wanting more to be included to specify more information, to guarantee more information being,
I just feel like
Put in the
to say the
budget.
budget shall be presented in a format that allows meaningful comparison of trends is pretty vague. Like, that does not tell me what exactly it is she wants.
I think there's two parts to this.
Everything broken down into categories.
yeah.
She wants to be able to, see what the actual
Yeah.
budget looks like, but then there's the second part is that number 12 there, which is basically my proposal 13, which is a 5-year financial forecast and budget. And that we don't actually have. We have a capital program, which is multi-year but focuses on projects. And we have the annual budget, which is a 1-year budget. But we don't have a financial forecast kind of projecting, what do we expect revenues to be for 5 years? What are, are we going to match our expenses and that kind of thing? And I think honestly, the more, again, transparency, the more data we have to make decisions, the better. Especially with our finances, when we're going to calculate, okay, we're going to spend a bunch more money. Are we going to be able to afford that 3 years from now? How is that going to affect taxes? How is that going to affect the different departments' budgets? Are we going to have a big expense in 4 years, and we have to figure out how to take care of that? That's all stuff that's not required to be presented right now. And I think it does make sense in the charter because we have the capital program and the annual budget in the charter. This would add another layer of, let's look at an actual financial forecast for the city and make sure that we're meeting that forecast in future years. Okay, hey, you expected X number of tax revenue and X amount of expenses, and we're here and there. Is that good or bad? How do we adjust for that? What is the discrepancy from? And that provides a lot more insight to council and to the public on the city's future.
And I agree with
So
everything
you're-
you said there.
It's suggesting that we just look at number 12?
So she has, I think we split it into two parts.
Not-
She has the first part there, which is, I think, a budget comparison. I'm still trying to understand what she's put it there. And then
So
this,
everything down to,
number 12.
Well,
And then for number 12, it's basically my proposal.
no, I'm looking at the top, the
She wants to,
bulleted items, and then it starts the sentence, the budget shall include, and you're separating between those two?
I'm separating between, basically after bullet point 11 there, where it says 5-year financial forecast down at the bottom.
So,
So 2
Can
parts.
yeah.
so the first part includes the 2 revised?
She wants to revise final sentences in the second paragraph.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what this is, so I have to read it and
Yeah,
figure it
I
out,
know.
but.
So she wants to revise the second paragraph in section A, and then she wants to look at the itemized numbers.
Yeah.
1, 6, 11, and then add 12, because technically there is no 12.
Okay.
I think generically, I just think about the domino effect of this kind of change. It's like some of the pieces that they use are presented from tools that they use for input and information.
Okay.
So if that's the case, then how you gonna, is it extra work for that person to almost do 2 different reports?
Okay, the GOAT program that you don't like. This would be a perfect example of that. They could look at a
I
5-year
like
projection
the GOAT
of the
program.
GOAT budget.
Let
Who
people
doesn't
know.
like
I'm
the
glad
GOAT
he knows
program?
that. The GOAT program, I do not. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of money. I said it before. I said it here. So if
Goats
you
don't float.
They do float, actually.
it's such a waste of money. They pay almost $77,000 to do some, to have some goats.
For an
to chew up
environmentally
brush.
friendly way to clean up.
They didn't clean up brush.
See, if we have
I
a
got
budget, we could look at that and we can analyze it.
$77,000 for goat scaping.
So I think,
They could hire somebody to do it.
I think the transparency that this is providing,
Okay,
If we can circle back to the agenda item, please.
Yeah, let's
That was Sam's fault for bringing
bring
it
it
up.
back.
Are you the farmer department?
Okay, so can we start with the top where it says revise the final sentence in the second paragraph? That the budget shall provide a complete financial plan of all city funds and activities and shall be arranged to show comparative figures for, and right now it says the current fiscal year's actual budget and estimated income and expenditures, and she wants it to say the current fiscal year's adopted budget. What is the difference, finance people, in actual and adopted?
Actually, lawyer.
The
I would say lawyer.
actual-
Lawyer.
That's a good question.
the adopted would
Sorry.
be, my understanding is the adopted would be the plan,
Yeah.
and the actual is what is actually being
Yes.
spent. So
Yeah.
if I planned to spend $100, but dinner was only
Okay.
75, bingo, that's great.
Yep.
Or it was 125 instead of 100.
It's usually a.
Yeah.
So right now, we're not comparing actuals and adopted?
I don't
I
know.
think we are. We have no choice but to,
To get that visibility.
because we busted sin through some of them.
I mean, that should
Are
be
we?
included.
Who would know that? Do you know this? Are
Yeah,
we
they're
looking
already
at
doing
the actual
this.
and the adopted next to each
So,
other? I
I
would
would
They
say
gotta do this.
looking at versus what is in the budget document are 2 different conversations.
Why don't
This
we
is
have a
referencing
budget
what will be in the,
conversation?
What will be in the
budget,
charter? You're
in the
right.
budget
You
document.
don't want to do that.
Is
That's
it
a whole- that's a whole-
reasonable to say this gets pushed to next month and we have someone from the finance department explain some of these things to us?
I think
Can
that's
we
a great
have
idea.
that happen?
I would prefer if I could get whatever questions you have, that way they can provide those answers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The way I'm reading this is that, and from what you just said, the budget that the city council sees is the actual budget or the adopted budget, but not
That's-
both.
That's the adopted budget.
So we don't see, like when they're getting that, they're looking at that, they're not seeing the actuals, they're seeing the adopted budget.
I want to say they have seen it, because I was in a thing and I thought I
Can we
saw
wait for a
actual.
response real quick?
Yeah, we might want to table some of this conversation to get clarification on what's available and what's not. Because I think whenever they were presenting the budget from this year, they had both in the council meetings. They had the actual spend and what was proposed. Especially for all those building projects.
Okay.
Trista, do they see both or?
So within the budget, I pulled up the FY26 budget, this year's budget. We have columns, FY24 amended budget, FY24 actuals, FY25 amended budget, FY25 projected, because at the time that the budget is adopted, FY25 isn't over yet. FY26 budgeted, FY25 projected versus FY26 budgeted percent change.
Okay, so we have both.
That's projected.
It's like, I think it's fair to just see
Because
what's.
when FY26 budget is
missing.
adopted, FY25 is still happening.
So based on what is the actual recommendation to change then?
So she's saying current fiscal years.
She should to change the language in the charter, so it's where it says estimated income and expenditures, actual and estimated income and expenditures. She wants it to say adopted budget.
Legally, does the change of words change any of this?
Yeah, I don't think it
It don't change them.
He's not, she said.
It's not.
Yeah,
Okay.
the only thing I just kind of warn against is making sure that we're not making it to a specific person's style.
Right.
Versus
That's what he just said.
the core pieces of what is usually typically done.
The practice that's being used, if we made word changes, wouldn't change any of that practice that's currently being used, which is giving us all of the information that is being requested by this proposal.
So it sounds like the first section here is already done. That's already being included. So now we're down to the budget shall include in separate sections and then that section there.
Yeah, and that's the thing that, like I said, I just question whether or not we're just trying to conform to somebody's style.
Itemized expenditures categorized by significant type in subcategory.
So she wants more details in the finances so
That's
she
what
can
it
actually
looks
see
like.
where the spending is
It's
going.
probably all lumped together and she wants it broken out.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Can we recommend that?
But that's, I think we
Good,
be
yeah.
mindful that
Well, one,
This
could we
leads into-
recommend that, or could we
She wanted itemized.
leave this, like a vote on these types of things to next month? And I'd be happy to draft up some questions that perhaps finance can then come back and clarify. What is and what isn't. Well, so my questions are, so if we're looking, and make sure I'm looking at the right place, you guys, I'm looking on article.
that's
Okay,
the right page.
so revise to add, and we're wanting all of these things itemized, I would like to ask the finance department, how is it displayed currently? What are your categories?
that's fair.
You know, does your financial system allow you to go down to subcategory?
I would hope so.
It should.
I would too,
It
but
probably
like,
does, but it's
okay,
like,
but I mean-
but the output.
That's
Well,
that's
yeah.
itemized. What you're
Right, like-
covering is you're asking for displays categories, which is an itemized process.
It sounds like it should be two reports.
You talk
One,
about the
just
piece
the
of
basic,
paper
like
and
what
the
we have, and
Right,
it sounds
it
like she wants an
compares.
itemized also, so it sounds like that she wants it, that
Well, I think-
it's a request for a second report with the more itemized.
I'd like a
I
little
think,
more
I think it's
clarity from her
accountability of
on
where's
what
money
she's-
being
yeah,
spent.
what
Yeah,
she
no,
actually wants.
I'm
So
just
maybe
saying,
it's clarity
that's what it
from-
sounds like, it sounds like a separate.
Once
Clarity
again,
from Councilmember
itemized, the
Ryan for
word
what she
itemized
wants.
to me is that you're getting itemized of whatever
Line
is
by
being
line journal
provided.
entry items?
Yes.
When is too granular, too granular? And once again, I just want to make sure I go on record and saying this. We've already talked about this.
No, we
This is
haven't.
another way.
No, we haven't.
This is another way.
No, we haven't.
Remember, let me be 1,000%. We've talked about this over a number of occasions, number of
We have
meetings.
not talked about
And the conversation is, some people are asking for too much detail, and we voted against it. This is specifically asking for too much detail, and essentially, this is adding on to someone else's job,
Okay.
which we have voted against in multiple sessions. So this is no different than what has been said on January meeting and February meeting. Yes, I was online. I just want to point that out one more time. I was online.
But we
Okay.
are talking about.
It's the same thing.
But this is
No,
different.
This is
It's the
different.
budget.
This is the budget.
No, that's what I'm saying. In the meeting, she was asking for budgetary information, and last meeting, there was a conversation about getting a hired head to get this
But
other
Gregory,
information.
we have to go,
Like
we have to
the
go
purpose of our
article-
review is to go.
we
Like
have to
this
go
is another. We should go through this.
every
Like I
one,
do agree
yeah.
with that. We
Go through
should.
it, but we already talked about it.
Okay.
Talk
It was
about
about
it.
whether or not we
Okay.
should hire someone. This is about,
Yes.
this is about the process of the rest of it.
Like my question would be is what is the
We're gonna do it.
difference between debt service, capital outlay versus a department, right?
So that can tell you that. I mean, the
That would be the question. Like why do we have to? If
So
a
debt
department
so debt
is
service.
a debt service department.
Debt service is you have debt and you pay interest on it, right? And so you're servicing the
But there's a
debt.
department that oversees that.
Yeah, but that's head count.
finance,
That's
probably.
It's
so
typically
no.
third
So
party
what
type thing.
when she's saying is I wanna know how much money we're spending just paying off on
She wants the
debt, paying
department
interest.
to provide itemized information,
I think
which
she
the
wants to-
word is there in this sentence. All I'm getting back to.
She wants it
is-
itemized by debt service,
By
so she
debt
knows
service.
how
She
much
just
went to
wants
debt
to know How
service.
much are we spending on just servicing our debt? How much are we spending by department, right? Like,
So she wants
Okay.
the interest broken down on loans?
Okay, Gregory, I'd like to make a comment,
what
okay?
she
I've been trying to
said.
make a comment for 30 minutes now.
Yeah,
So-
Carol?
Then me,
So-
after you.
Okay,
No, you go.
okay. First, I agree with Tracy that we should find out what is already being provided, and we need that information to make a decision on this. Itemized, I think that's important. I go take my vehicle into a shop, and they give me a $6,000 bill, okay?
You don't wanna know what it's for, right?
I want to know, did they fix the brakes?
Uh-huh.
How much went for those brakes? Did they fix the headlights? Did they rebuild the motor? What did they do? Where did that $6,000 go? And I want to know that. And I think that's important. The city is on a much bigger level than a car. And so when you just get a budget that just says X amount of money and stuff, if it's not got where that money's being spent, there's a lot missing. And so I think it's, again, more information for city council people, I'll say it again, is better. And, but if it's already being provided, like Tracy's asking, then we need to know that. And then there wouldn't be any reason for this.
I agree, we should know all of those things, and it's covered by the second word on line 1. It says itemized. Itemized means you don't get the $6,000 bill and you don't know what it's for. Itemized means they've told you, we put in 3 new brake pads and we did this to the alternator and everything else. Itemized to me is what she's asking for, but she wants to itemize what needs to be itemized, and I just feel that that's.
Yes.
I think the way I'm reading it is
specify what
I
needs
want to
to-
categorize.
Subcategories.
Yes, so she just says itemized expenditures that are categorized. By,
We need more clarity from her on what she wants.
I think so, because I mean,
When would granular be too
I'm
granular?
sitting here
does
saying
the department
it's
create the
covered.
category?
It must be something specific that she's missing
Yeah.
that we don't
Yeah.
understand.
Right.
Yeah.
I can understand what she's
Let's be
talking
1,000.
about.
Let's be 1,000.
I don't think she wants that detail, but she just,
There
she's
has
obviously
been
missing something.
criticism
But yeah.
for the amount of
Yeah.
information that she is.
Which she probably finds something, but.
Okay,
They just want it broken down by
And she knows that.
subcategory.
That's why she's.
Let's just get more clarity from her.
Wait.
Yeah.
When you're doing a budget, you don't just put the numbers in there without knowing what you're putting them for. And she just wants a subcategory for each one. Obviously, she's working on a budget and she doesn't know where this money is going. And she just wants it broken down.
And
As simple as that.
and it's specified, it's not,
Yeah,
it- it's, it,
I
But
mean, I
isn't
do
that
budgets all the
covered
time
by
and you gotta
asking
break
for
it down.
itemized?
Pardon me?
I said, isn't that covered, that detail to me is the how-to list rather than saying I want an itemized budget. If I, in running a school, when I ask for an itemized budget, I expect
And an
that
itemized
detail.
budget.
And to me, the word itemized is like, going back to my other analogy, one's the how-to list and one's the Constitution. I just, to me, this is getting really into micromanaging.
So that's why we
don't know
don't know
what
what
she's
she
getting,
wants.
so we
Number
really
11.
don't know what she's
yeah,
getting
so
already.
that's what I want to do, like Tracy says, we need to find out
Yeah, we
what's
don't
being
know what she's
provided
getting.
first before we can make a decision on this, in my opinion.
so the
11 also says other information required by council, which means she should be able to request anything that is not currently provided.
That goes back to
No,
the
that's
fact it
where
has
the
to be
problem
approved by
was.
the
She's
council.
doing too much.
What's that?
That goes back to the fact they're wanting to get that information, it has to be approved by the entire council.
But yeah, that's where, so the,
We got that
Can
on.
we go back to number 1 real quick? So the recommendation for number 1 is that we ask the council member for more information on the intent of the question. And then also, we want to ask what type of information is provided by the department's divisions and office in the current format
Right.
from a previous fiscal year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the FY '26 budget is online. If what you're wanting to see is
Oh,
what
it is?
currently exists in the budget, yeah, it's on our
So
website.
so we will take time to look at FY26.
I would
The
recommend.
main thing we need to know is what she's missing and what she's trying to ask
What
for
she-
here.
what she
yeah,
wants.
because I think,
Still,
like,
you send a link out to.
because I think you got to realize, like, and this is just me on the outside looking at what transpired during the public council meeting. There was criticism of the ask by 6 of the 7 council members. There was the level of detail.
I'm fine with that kind of argument though, because that's what is in place by the
But that's what I'm saying.
citizens.
So if
Like it's-
so, the argument
I don't
that I
want to
have,
release that.
But I don't wanna, but the argument I have is 1 to 6. And even if you say 2 to 5. So 5 of the people have been getting sufficient information at the level that they already have. And this one is going crazy inquisitive and
I take
being
offense.
burdensome.
I take offense to you labeling one of our councilmen crazy in a meeting.
I didn't say crazy. I didn't call
Yeah,
her
you
crazy.
did.
I say
You did.
I say the amount of information
I
is
take
crazy high. And that's what I said. I didn't call her crazy.
I
I
just
actually
want to
respect her.
regroup it because I think
But-
we're getting sidetracked again.
No, let me say this. The only reason I want to say this is because there's been criticism publicly in even a vote at the council meeting with public people out here because there was so much information being asked for and it was burdensome to the city staff. And that is why I say this has already been voted on by us. And this is just another way to backdoor, and that's the same thing we already said no to.
And that's fine. Like that's the whole purpose though of this is like
But
that we
nah,
can
we
have
gotta
that.
we gotta
like,
be efficient in
opportunity.
time and not just we gotta accept the will of the vote.
So,
And so we vote
we've
on
already
this.
decided on what we can move on to 6. If we're okay, like we know what the recommendation is, right? Is to get more information from the
The
council member.
recommendation is to get more information.
Right.
Moving on, do we want to talk about the 5-year forecast?
I mean, yeah, I think we could probably
Well, we
separate
need to
the,
get a city manager first, before we can talk about that.
where? No.
Oh, God,
Table
6, okay,
12.
sorry,
We
I
need table
skipped,
number
I
12.
skipped ahead.
Wait, 6 is in like, you're
It's
talking about,
itemized number 6.
I think that's the same as
That's
number
the
1.
same thing we,
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's
we're
the thing
asking
we're
her that
asking
too.
about.
So I'm not okay. We're getting those two.
Identification of anticipated use of fund balance or reserves and projected ending fund balance for each major fund and a 5-year financial forecast.
So the 11, we could either put that in the same group as ask more details, or we could try to get into that, but it's not a lot of detail.
What is our financial forecast that's provided currently?
I don't think we have one,
We don't have one.
which is the problem.
Yeah, we want to, I think that's one I'm pretty interested in. I think we should have a 5-year forecast.
But can we get some clarification from finance department on this topic itself of, are they looking at it but not providing it to council? Do they have it? Do they look 1 year out and that's it? I just wanna know clearly, are we already looking at 1 year out and that's all? Or is there some other measure?
Are there reasons why we wouldn't provide a 5-year forecast?
Yeah, that's more,
I mean,
I think it's more
Yeah.
than, rather than asking them,
Well,
so.
what are they doing? But then, yeah.
Rather than
what-
finding out what they're doing, I'm just saying, I think if we know that they're not providing a 5-year forecast, I think it's okay for us to consider right now if it's a good idea or not to have a 5-year forecast. Like, I think it's a good idea to have a 5-year.
It seems like it.
And
But
code-
they
They
also,
have one?
like, can they?
Well,
Well, I would hope so.
Yes, definitely.
Well, like financially, no, because if cost goes up or costs go down, like
Well, it doesn't mean it's accurate, it just means that,
it's not accurate.
yeah,
Okay.
we can
Forecasts
look at
They're
it.
not profits.
They're
Like
like
the
weather.
No, I'm just wondering, like if it's
Because the
yeah.
goal being like 2 years from now, we look back at it and say, we're gonna be here, we're not there, why? And then.
And then you
Yeah,
make
you can't
adjustments.
project a pandemic that's gonna, right, but it,
But they
Seems
can be
like
like,
it would
we're
make
not,
sense.
we're forecasting less growth, so revenue could, or pull back in prices, revenue.
And it also forces them to pay attention to it and like, oh, hey, like growth is down, we need to adjust, or growth is up, we need to adjust. So,
so our current format is 2 years.
so right now we don't have a forecast. Right now we have, what's required is the capital improvement plan, which is the like actual infrastructure development, and then the annual budget, which is just what we're gonna spend, so.
And most major companies, which you could consider the city as a major company, all have 5-10-year
Yeah,
forecasts.
you have to, it's so
Everybody has
important.
them. It's a
Because-
standard procedure.
You're making decisions based off where you think you're gonna be 3 years from now, and if we're.
but we don't know that there's not one,
There may,
It
but I mean, the
exists.
city council
Yeah.
needs that, because the city
It's
council's
not
making
in
those
their charter
decisions.
that
They have
have
one.
right,
They have one.
so can we ask
They have,
that?
matter of fact, I thought they even
Okay, so
publicized it.
moving on, we're gonna ask the clarification, do we have one? And
Are there
then,
any other cities that have one that we could
Have what?
capture?
A 5-year?
Year budget.
Yeah.
I could have sworn they even, I
I'm
thought
sure
they
there's
published
gotta be
that up in
something.
even
Could that be
the
something else that we
newsletter.
look into for next? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I thought they, yeah, I think that's available.
if other cities
Sorry.
have a,
Just for clarification, so we're asking for if there's a forecast or if we're budgeting 5 years out.
If
Is
there's a
there-
five-year or it's a
Forecast.
forecast of any kind, but ideally, are we looking 5 years ahead to try to project revenues and expenses?
I could have sworn that they actually
Oh.
published that like in the in the community impact. It was so public.
Community impact is in the city.
No, but it's like they were public about the information.
We don't run the, we're not deciding what the community impact does here.
Okay, so Copilot will tell you that most mid-sized peer cities do provide a 5-year forecast. But it's not established with the charter, it's due to, like, it's a best practice and that's what they do. So,
So
So
it
like
might be a
the capital
recommendation.
improvement plan is a 5-year.
Yeah, that's what I was talking
But
about.
that's specific for projects, right?
plan, that's,
Yeah.
that is more
And that's,
specific.
that's what was published in the community impact, which is the official organization. Period is
Okay,
official.
we're
by the
tabling
way.
this for next meeting.
Next
Yep.
meeting.
Okay.
And then moving to 9.05, voter approval for large certificates of obligation.
Which is also proposal 11.
Yes.
The city shall not issue a non-emergency certificate of obligation in any amount exceeding 25% of the city's property tax revenue from preceding fiscal year without prior approval by a majority of qualified voters.
So the main difference here between Melody's and mine is that she did 25% of the city's property tax revenue, which I don't remember what the number was off the top of my head, but I think it's like 5 to 10 million. And I put 25 million. And the goal here is that basically the city uses COs to do big spending projects, and there's a lot of uses for that where they need to do that. They need to be able to spend money and put in stuff in there. But there needs to also be a limit on how big that can be before voters need to actually decide whether or not this is good spending or not. So if it's like $5-10 million, they should be able to go just do the spending they need to do for whatever it is. If it's $25, $40, $50 million, that's $140 million. That's going to have a massive impact on people's taxes, on the shape of the city, and the voters need to have a say in that. So this is basically just limiting how much they're actually able to spend using COs before it has to go to the voters.
And I'll, got a lot invested in this one.
Say that again.
I have a lot invested in on this one since this is the petition that I have paid about $5,000 from my own money to my own legal lawyers to draw up on this. And I started circulating the petition for this right before COVID hit, and then COVID hit and it shut me down. And I can tell you, 25% is a lot, okay? My petition suggested 100,000. Now, after talking to the city council people and stuff, I know that's low. One city council person has suggested $1 million. I go back to the Common America Bank being bought for $800,000, and the voters didn't get to vote on that. Okay, COs are meant. I've done a lot of research on this. Talked to the person that wrote the law for the current laws on it, personally on the phone, and the COs, the law that they have now was specifically written to, originally written, to stop the city hall in Lubbock, I believe it was, from being built with COs. Now, there's a hole in the law that that if there's a part of the building that's being built, that's any part that's used for public safety, because exemptions are public safety, water, and emergencies. Those are what you're supposed to be able to use them for. If you have a tornado comes through and tears up the town, don't have time to issue a GO bond, you issue COs to fix everything because you need it then. For public safety, it's for it. For water projects, in other words, for our new water, $1.2 billion in CO bonds would be okay for the water project we got. Those are exempt by state law. What should not be exempt, like I said, I've talked to the person that wrote the law. It's being misused at this point. If you add a small center inside a big building that's exempt, like for long, and then build this big building that's being used for something else. specifically, it says any extra structures that are attached to a public safety building. That's like you build a public safety building and you build a garage for it. Or you build a public safety building and you build a storage shed for it. It's not meant you build a city hall and you put a small section of it in that's dedicated to public safety. That's not what it's meant for. That's what it's meant to prevent. Again, this is not my words. This is the guy that wrote the law that's currently on the books. So the CO's being misused across the board by all entities because that's the way they get around voter approval. You can build a whole bunch of stuff using COs without doing it. You can spend $250 million using COs, and the voters don't get a vote on it.
Okay.
No, I'm not through.
I'm sorry. But, yeah, I feel like we get.
Okay, so my point is, this is a really important thing. The petition that I had, I went out there on a Sunday for 3 hours before COVID started, and I had 68 houses. I got 68 signatures to limit it to $100,000. Then COVID shut me down. But people want this. I can tell you. Every single person I talked to when I went around from door to door, they said, yeah, this is needed.
You said 68, I just want to make sure that's the number you just said, right?
68 houses I hit, I got 68 signatures on it, okay?
So can we start with, like, just generally, do we think there should be a threshold for the amount of money? I mean, I think we understand, and I think that's a really great, you gave us a good understanding of how they work, and.
Well, let me put this in perspective. Like, if the city were to say, put in a CO for $5 billion,
Right.
there's technically nothing stopping them
Nothing
from doing
stops.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So, to some extent, you could make the argument there should be a threshold. Now, the
Right.
question is, where is that threshold? But
All right, so this is one that I would probably say when it comes down to certain things that are needed for the city of Pflugerville, a geo bond for transportation would be ideal. But a geo bond for transportation would be ideal because it's not an emergency. All right, and Terry and I have actually talked about this. And so, but to get it started, you'll have to have some upfront capital because ridership is simply going to grow over time. And this is just one that I'm thinking about from a transportation committee perspective. Terry and I actually aligned on one of the proposals that I had, slight tweaks or whatever, but when it comes down to transportation. But the $100,000 would clearly be way too small in your example. Even in your proposal, that $100,000 would be too low. But the reality of it all is we don't know what things are needed to be successful within Pflugerville. Like, for example, my budget for the transportation committee was $3 million over 3 years. So that's technically $9 million that the city will collectively get for the transportation solution. And that's really, really low. And that's just for 10 buses. So what if there's something substantially bigger, such as a cleanup of the lake?
it goes to the voters.
You know
But
what
the
I'm saying?
voters decide.
But
It's not
right
that
now
you
the
can't
geo
do it.
bond, but right now the geo bond allows it so you don't have to go to the voters. And so
But you
that's where the
understand,
thing
no,
is.
you're talking about CO bonds. CO certificate obligations are specifically meant, they have GO bonds are what voters vote on. CO bonds or certificate obligations are what the city council only passes. And state law regulates what that can be. And currently, state law regulates that it can be used for public safety, emergencies, and water projects and such. Okay, there's several categories in there. Okay, transportation is not one of them.
That's not true.
No, it is.
Public safety
I
safety could be transportation.
No, not unless
Yes,
you're
it
talking
is.
about being transported in the back of a
Let's come
police
back
car.
to topic, though. Like,
So-
so a CO bond can be used, and you're saying there's a loophole.
There's a loophole that says you can build a structure, and if any part of that building is being used for public safety, You
It
can,
you can do whatever you want. Yeah,
okay.
you can have as much money as you want.
And after I've talked to the people that wrote that, they said it's a loophole that they're gonna try to close,
Right.
okay? So, that was not the intent
Right.
of that state law, I can tell you. It's not because the guy that wrote it told me it wasn't.
But
Want me to tell
let's
you-
go back to, should there be a threshold, period? Does everybody agree that there should be a threshold?
I don't.
You don't think so? You
I don't think
that
so.
CO
It would
bond
be
should be?
unusual to put that, from what I can see, it would be very unusual to put that in the charter. So
It's just too
I-
much.
I feel like it's
in-
unusual that they used a CO to build a $140 million city.
Yes, that's
That's
unusual.
what's unusual.
Right.
What's really
I'm
unusual
not
is
saying,
that.
I'm not
What's
commenting
unusual?
on that, I'm talking about where we're trying to talk about the charter
Right.
and what
So-
should or shouldn't be
So
in there.
But
the
that's why it's
charter, the
important.
charter
It's all
allowed them
important.
to build a city hall without voting.
Because they put one room in there with like a little police call.
That's
So
not. That's
well,
fake
it's-
news. That's not true,
Can
y'all.
someone explain what actually happened then? Because we've got like fake news,
Yeah.
we've got real news, we've got
So,
what actually
I,
happened.
correct me if I'm wrong, Terry might know this better than me, but in order to use CO bonds for the city hall, they had to have it for public works. Some part of it had to be, so they put a small section of it that was a police.
Or dedicated a part of it, not justice center, but part of it for emergency center.
Yes,
And
so-
some, and there's some other stuff in there.
Which
that
allowed
they-
them to approve the entire complex, the entire building as like public
It
works.
is.
Yeah. the new one.
That is great.
That's not true.
But without,
Gregory,
the city-
I was on-
without
I was
the vote
on-
of the
just
voters.
came to-
Like,
I
even
was
if
on the
you think it's a good
Downtown
idea,
East
like,
Committee
people
that
still vote on
voted
one
for
of
it.
the city hall.
Can we compensate this guy?
I didn't vote for it. I was one for it,
Let's
voted
bring it
against
back.
it.
You heard what he just said.
No.
I was one of
He
four
didn't.
that, I was one of four that voted against it.
But it got proved by what? Say that one more time.
It's a Downtown East Committee,
And the downtown East Committee voted it
stakeholders
forward.
committee.
Okay,
You just happened to vote against it, but the committee voted it forward.
It's
You
a-
just happened to vote against it
That's not the
collectively.
voters, Greg.
So no, that's what I'm saying. So this narrative that it was
But
approved
Gregory,
outside of policy is not true.
No, it was
The
not approved by the
voters-
voters of the people.
It was
yeah.
approved to use CO bonds by that committee.
let's take a 5-minute recess.
This is just
Okay.
calling a spade a spade. It's like
But the
disagreement.
voters are not on that board, I mean.
It's not. A committee was put
No,
in place for
we
it.
were talking about her, him,
And they got-
him.
they
didn't get to,
approved-
they did not get to vote for it.
But that
I
committee,
loved it.
all they're
So-
doing, I support I support it. So,
But you
so
didn't
at
get
the end of the
vote for
day, at the end of the day, there's people who oppose. They call it the tax mahal, and we can't let the tax mahal people get the voice that they're spewing out lies. In Terry's words just now, he was. Let me complete this.
That's not
Let
my
me complete
words.
this. Let me
That's
complete
not my words.
in Terry's words just now, he said it went to a committee that decided the East Hall. He just happened to vote against it, but the collective of that committee said yes. Said yes.
Greg was talking about the voters of the
collective of
city.
that
But that's
committee
my
is
point.
not a public
But
vote.
that's the point. That's the point. At the current time, under the guidance of the law, the CO bond was
Which is what we're
used and it was
talking about changing.
approved.
Could we get someone, I hear you, and I hear
Terry talked longer
Terry?
than me.
I'd love to hear some other perspectives on this from some people who haven't spoken.
I just want to be. The
But
reason I'm using this is because
Gregory,
I'm knowledgeable on it.
I understand.
And Terry gave a
Yeah.
knowledgeable component, which is actually stating some false pieces.
I-
And it's important to correct those pieces
Could I,
in this
could
session.
I just
It's a lot
call,
of opinion-based
uh,
conversation.
I've been
right
studying
now,
this
y'all.
for 8
Yeah.
years. Tell
I've
me,
been
I'm
studying it for
Let's
3. It ain't that
listen to
complicated.
our
Could,
deputy
3 months.
leader.
could I call on Josh? I'd love your perspective.
I don't have a perspective, but
I feel like you do.
but this committee,
Uh-huh.
who appointed these people?
the city council
City council.
appointed committees.
And you want it.
The mayor appointed 3 people, city staff appointed 3 people, and then each city councilman appointed 2 people.
Okay.
And so if you've got a stacked deck of council people that want it, they appoint the people that are gonna vote
We're
for it.
voted by the
This
people.
collective body is
Correct.
being stacked in.
So this is a
You think?
That's purposeful. Because it's representing the constituency in Pflugerville.
Questions, guys.
It's representing the people.
Let
in
Josh
the-
ask his question. Let's let
Good
someone
question.
else speak for a moment.
I was on that committee, I was appointed,
Mhm.
the person who appointed me never said anything to me about anything that was coming up. It was not stacked, it was people, and I mean, just coming here, when I was appointed, the person that appointed me said, go forth and do what you think is best for the community. They did not
what I
give
was
me any
told, too.
directions.
No
They
political.
did not ask my
I didn't
And
know
I,
the
and I,
hell
and I will
sign up.
point out that the committee is not a public vote. It is a committee vote. It is not a GO bond vote where the entire city gets to vote on it.
Well, the,
Totally different things.
Wait, we're completely off topic
He's trying to
here.
make it sound like it's the same
but
thing.
it's, but it's currently allowed.
Yeah, good,
It's
good.
currently allowed.
No, it's not.
Which,
Greg, let's let
It
Josh
shouldn't
talk.
be.
Josh, finish what you
It was exploited.
I don't even
It's
know
allowed
what I
by
want to
a
say.
loophole in the law.
Now you were talking about the committee.
It's allowed by a loophole in the
They're
law.
asking a good question, though.
Exploitation of the law.
I totally understand wanting to hand these tax questions to the voters. I absolutely get that. But sometimes I don't even want to make these decisions, and I elect people to make those decisions on my behalf. And so if this committee was put together by duly elected people, I mean, I don't see how it is stacked. I mean, I'm also getting perspectives from people who are on that committee, so I don't know. That's just kind of where my thoughts are
Because
at
the
right now.
committee would have a lot more information than a voter just showing up and voting yes or no based off of however a bond.
And
I'd
sometimes
like to
that ballot
point out that
language is
if it's
confusing.
$150 million, $200 million,
It's confusing.
it's everybody's tax money, not
I
just the people on
understand
the city
that. I
committee.
understand that, but what I'm saying is when people show up to vote, they don't have the same level of information that your committee did on why this is important, how
So
it will
with-
grow our
but-
city.
So with that same philosophy,
I'm
we
just
should never have a
making a
GO bond
point.
election.
I'm
Sherry,
making
can I
a
ask you a
point.
question?
Can I say
Yeah.
something? Can I
Uh-huh.
please say something? We're breaking all the rules of courteous business meetings. If one person is talking, we should all listen and not talk over that person, because there are some of us who want to hear what Josh says, and when everybody's cross-talking. So let's go back to being respectful, because we're not being respectful tonight.
Thank you.
Could you finish your point? I was trying to hear it.
Oh, I don't even remember. I was.
There you go.
You were saying they had
Thank
preview
you.
information.
No, I was saying that the committee that is assigned has sat through presentations and briefings and has an understanding of what they're voting on versus a voter shows up, or whatever small percentage of our population that votes will show up and they're gonna say, read this, do you wanna spend $140 million to build a city hall, with no understanding of how that might benefit or hurt the community? They don't have a full spectrum understanding, is all I'm saying, and that committee does. It's just a point that I'm picking up on after listening to your conversations. Yes, Jim.
Yeah, so the question I have is, just so everyone understands, there's about 45,000 voters in Pflugerville. $140 million is $3,000 per voter. So what is your threshold for how much money do you want to let the city council spend, or the people they appoint, without voter approval? Because $3,000, that seems like a lot. Or if we go by resident, I mean, that's $12,000 that my family will pay for that city hall with no actual input, right? I didn't get to vote. I would have voted against a $140 million city hall. I might have voted for a $20 million.
But if you were on the committee and you understood all of the things that go into and the rationale for the city hall, you might make a different decision, is all I'm saying. Like, you weren't there.
They're also open to the public. So you have public input at some point, if you're knowledgeable enough, so that you can create.
So my question again was, how much money do you want the city to be able to spend on behalf of your family or yourself before you want to vote for it?
So my question to you is, do you want representative government or do you want government by referendum?
So
Which one do you want?
we're focusing so much on the city hall, and the reality here is we need to be focused on the fact that what do we think the value of a CO is as far as actual policy and process that the city council has access to. There's nothing against having a board that determines whether or not we need a city hall. There's nothing against them making recommendations and putting those recommendations on the ballot and everybody votes on them. They can make that pitch and say, we sat down, we talked about this for 2 years, we think this is a brilliant idea, we're gonna put this on the ballot, here's why it's a great idea. And there's nothing stopping any citizen from going to those meetings and learning about that. I think to Jim's point, he's asking the right question here, is that how much authority do we want to give the city government to spend our money? And to some extent, we're going to want to give them some level of authority, whether that's, hey, I'm going to spend $1 million on something to fix a road or to put in something there. But then we don't want to give them the authority to say we're going to put in a $200 million water park without coming to the voters and saying, do you want a water park, which is potentially a frivolous thing, that's going to cost you, however many thousands of dollars for your people, for your
I agree.
family.
Yeah, and so I think then going back to the original question is, do we believe there should be a threshold? Or no?
My answer is no.
Can we just take a vote on that?
Can I make
Can
a
we start
statement
there?
real quick? Can I make another statement? I think, when it comes down to the way cities are run, you can justify and say that you now want the budget to be put on the ballot based on your argument. And we don't go to the ballot to approve a city's budget.
We
We trust the city council, we trust the city manager to get that job done. And more importantly, we voted these, just like Josh said, we voted these people in office collectively. And so if they want to make sure they have a city hall, I think the term needs to change from city hall to east, downtown, or
Forget the
downtown
city
east.
hall.
Downtown east.
City hall's a
Downtown
specific
east.
example.
Because the reason I say that is because it's a city hall, it's park and recreation, it's businesses there. It's more than just that. It's more than just a city hall. And so when we say the narrative, hey, we just want to have X, Y, Z, these people, it's necessary. We're too spread out. And so at the end of the day, we got to trust what they've done. We are no different as this charter committee than the committee that chose to build the city hall and other building projects. And so if we expect the people to trust us, we got to be able to trust the team.
Correct. Everything we do gets voted on by the voters.
You're just going to get voted out.
The difference is, we make a recommendation, and guess what happens after that? The city puts it on a ballot for the people to vote on.
That's this.
Oh, that's the difference.
That's the charter.
Now, what we're talking about, your point is that essentially, if you don't, you wouldn't even have a bond election if we're just going to go by what the council recommends. You wouldn't have a GO bond for roads. You wouldn't have a GO bond for water. You wouldn't have or anything if you're just going to accept it. We have GO bonds for a reason, for large ticket items that aren't emergencies and stuff. That's why we have GO bonds, general obligation bonds. And we have those and we vote on them all the time. We vote almost every election we have it. We have it for schools. And so we don't just trust our city council. We let the people decide how their taxpayer money and great amounts is being lobbied and how they're going to be spent. Otherwise, we never have any kind of election for any kind of bond issue. We just say, okay, city council, go spend what you want. We elected you. Now I'm going to stick my head in the sand and forget about everything else. You're talking about education of the voters, okay?
That's just
We rely on the voters to make educated choices for our president, for our governor, for our city council. We should be able to rely on them. We should be able to rely on them also for how much money is, what they vote on for their own money.
We can't state every spending to the people, man. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
If we
Okay.
want a threshold or do not want a threshold, and if we do want a threshold, what would that threshold be?
Okay.
Kind of stay focused on something.
Can we first do yes or no to threshold?
Yes or no to threshold? Let's start with you, Jolly.
I'm gonna say yes.
Undecided, come back to.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
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 We can pause for just
No.
1 second. Pause for just 1 second.
Wait.
We had a yes all the way to that corner.
I'm sorry, we're gonna have to go back to Jim.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
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 I like the way I say nay.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Sherry?
No.
Okay, great.
Undecided.
I'm going to say yes.
So back to you guys.
Back to you guys.
What's the number between yes and no before the undecided have to choose?
I would prefer a vote happens.
Okay.
I think,
Yes or no, Mom?
Just go with your gut.
It has to be
If you
yes
say
or no
yes, you
discussion.
get to talk about it more. If you say no, you don't get to talk about it more.
No. No, no.
I
Okay.
trust them.
Yeah.
Or so you were no.
I'll take it to the people then.
So we will not move forward to talk about the amount of the threshold if we don't think there should be one. Moving on. Yes? I think so.
Yeah, by a lot.
All right, I still got the city
Just one
charter
second.
petition
I think it was like
Hold,
four
I can,
that,
what about one thing at a
that was
time?
a yes.
Sorry.
that I will
But I think it was
redo.
only like four votes.
This was your chance.
I have 6 yeses, 8 nos. Let me count one more time. I got a little lost here.
I think that's, yeah, it was the undecided.
This was the chance
It
for y'all
was
to set
Jamie's
an
point
amount.
that we might be.
I'm gonna take it to the people, I'm gonna take it to the people, I get it back. I'm gonna put a much lower threshold than what y'all
We
want.
got a question.
I'm a government teacher, so that's the
Yes, so
question
it is
that
6
comes to
yeses,
my
8
mind.
nos.
Is like,
Do we know
we
if
elected
other
these people.
local municipalities have a threshold?
Tracy,
Based on what
said
co-pilot
no.
told me, they do not.
They do not, okay.
And it's mid-sized cities like ours, as well as larger cities like Fort Worth, Dallas, Houston, they do not.
They do not, okay.
Okay, threshold is not moved forward. What's our next order?
Well, not via this venue anyway.
What agenda
I
item
still
are we
got a
on now?
petition.
What'd you say?
What agenda item are we on now? 3E?
We are on,
3F?
oh gosh, no, we're still on,
We're still on.
And I'll decide by myself what the threshold
we have a
will be
hard
on the
stop at
petition.
10, so we're gonna get,
1
I
hour
only
mark.
see two more things here.
1 hour left.
hang in there, all right.
I thought we did 3E for budget and finance.
That was the big one I wanted.
In seconds.
Let's take a 5-minute recess.
Where we at 3F?
We're at 9:07, I think.
I'm out of sight.
We should be at 9.07, administration of the budget.
Are we doing recess 9:02 to 9:07?
Oh,
We're
9:07, yeah.
I stretched legs.
Can we live to-
And then
This is napping, huh?
I'll fall on you.
pass the post to us. Yeah, he called it the tax ball. That's another thing. But I told him, I said, well, if nothing else, you got me plus Doug that support it.
Okay, let's bring it back, here on 9.07.
He's saying nothing.
Can I make a proposal that we add this to the sections that we need to get clarification from Melody from?
Yeah, what do you want to, what
Thank you.
questions do you
All
have?
the rest of it.
Yes. Okay.
What are we, the proposal is just get more context?
Honestly, I think it'd be great if she showed up next meeting and just pitched some of this
Is
stuff.
she allowed to?
Yeah, it's public comment. Like as a public member of the public. Not,
Council members can't.
Yeah.
I don't think they can.
Are they allowed to come?
I don't think they can.
She can make public comments if the public.
Okay.
But they were kind of asking that the council members don't.
No, at the very beginning, she can stand and then speak. Be here, and they can be called upon her.
Do you hear that melody?
I don't think we can do a Q&A, can we? She can do some comments. If we have Trista capture our questions, we could maybe have her come in and give a public comment that addresses the questions.
I feel like if we did something like that, though, I would still want finance department input as well.
Yeah, we need both. I
Well,
think.
we've already agreed to that, right?
Right, well, but if Melody Ryan or any other council member comes here to be here during the meeting, I feel like we would also.
Well, so she would be at the beginning only, making a comment on what we're covering,
But
because
we'll
that's a
have to
public
have-
agenda.
If we invite her, we have to bring somebody else that encounters her.
I just feel like it would need to be two-sided, it's not just, here was the questions via email, we got a response back via email.
But once again, everyone can kind of come in and, like, technically she could come in without us requesting her here.
I agree, if we're asking her to come, I think we need to ask finance to come as well.
Or we could also just ask her via email if she wants to show up.
And then that's what I thought we were gonna do, was like, just ask via email both groups and get a response back.
Well, it's,
If she's watching right now, she could just show up.
well, it was her proposal, so, it was her proposal, so clarifying her proposal would be good.
Sorry?
It was her proposal, so clarifying her proposal would be good.
What meeting?
I agree, I would like clarification from her, I also think that if she's gonna come in and provide clarification, it might raise questions.
For finance, yeah, I agree.
More information is not good. I mean, it's good. I mean, it's best. Finance, whoever.
Okay, so we agree,
On what part?
all of it.
Well, there was
100%.
two.
But if Melanie's gonna come, we would like to have finance here as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I would
Doesn't
say
hurt.
I prefer sending email and getting a written response.
Yeah, we can.
Well, it's only Melanie.
We can have
that's
both.
We
requesting
asked
the
finance to come, we're
information.
asking them to come after.
It's only Melanie that's requesting the information, is that
Right, but all Tracy's saying is she would like, if Melody's here, clarifying her request, that we would like finance here, because there will be questions that probably come up about what they can actually provide. So having two parts.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But
And that's asking them to come after hours
Yeah.
for a non-city council meeting.
It might not be.
could we cover it right in the beginning at 6 and then?
Yeah.
But that's
move it
when
along?
public comment is.
Right.
But
No,
can
but-
we
yeah.
ask questions during public comment? We just listened, right?
We need to get
And
this
the public
committee
comment
like
limited to
subpoenaing
3 minutes or
powers.
whatever.
Bring them in.
What is the rules on public comment? Or people
Well, no,
coming?
no, I mean, she can come, and if you're asking her questions, I think it would be helpful to put some specifics to that. If you want her to come and just generally tell you in 907 what her main point is, or what she's trying to get at, and I think you can ask her to do that.
As,
She would come and do
as
that,
a
but-
board,
but-
can we like subpoena her or?
This board needs subpoenaing
There's a
powers.
lot of power grabs in this conversation today.
I think you run a risk of it.
But remember, you're gonna give your, I mean, I know at some point you're gonna go to council with perhaps even another meeting to fall back on, and go to council, and you could ask them some questions, including the mayor who's submitted some things, and Councilmember Kaufman. I think it would be important to hear from finance, either in writing or them coming for maybe the first part of the meeting next time and answering some specific questions about what does the budget process look like, what do they provide, what's the timing of that?
So there's no rules on what they can and can't say, like they can't have to talk at a specific time at a specific point, it's just whatever we want, other than the fact that public comment is allowed.
I guess we have to remember we've got, next month is April. we have 2 meetings and then our presentation out to council.
Do we know what those questions would be to finance and Melanie?
I would say just email them to Trista. I would just kind of come up with them.
Yeah, so I'm asking, do we know what those questions would be individually? The reason I ask that question is because if you have a individual question for anything that Melody has written down, why not just submit that over to Trista for Melody to provide?
Yeah, that's not.
I think it's, yeah,
Most
it's very
efficient.
good.
I think that's right.
I think that's the most efficient thing to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier.
So get Trista questions by,
Yeah.
Let's say within the next week.
maybe 2 weeks.
No.
10 days.
10 days.
Are those business days?
Business days.
If you don't get it to about next Thursday, it ain't gonna.
So
one
it
attempt
will
to
depend
get more
on
questions.
how extensive your questions are and how robust you want the answers. The sooner we get it, the more I can guarantee your responses will be provided. The later it is, I cannot guarantee responses.
Everybody okay with next Thursday deadline?
Yep.
I just want to make your load lighter, Trista. That's all. Let that go forth as something that Greg does.
Do we need a motion?
No.
No.
Great, just send me questions.
So the capital project reporting is gonna be in the questions as well,
I think so.
budget related, so we're done.
I got one more, it's just a quick, well, it's a recommendation, so it's not a place, proposal 3. Basically recommending to council that they set a policy on reporting on how fees are calculated, what they're spent on, if they go up by a significant amount, just kind of documenting that for the public on, just like a documented policy on, like letting people know where their fees are and where they're, and how they're calculated. So
Is that a finance question then?
it's, yeah,
Because then we would ask them how they provide that public
I hear
record.
you on that. You know, sometimes you hear a politician go, oh, it's gonna cost us $6 million to do that. Okay, why?
yeah.
How did I set out from you? Where'd you come to on that amount? I agree with that.
Yeah, it's basically just like,
I've
okay,
always wondered that.
there's a
I'm like,
city
okay,
fee.
so you just set it up. Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of fees, like,
Like, there's a fee for paying your water bill online, or there's a fee for, you know, roadway impact fee, whatever it is. Just having a policy of documenting, okay, we calculated this fee at this amount because of X reasons. Here's the total amount we're trying to raise. Here's how much we're expecting to actually get. Here's how much we're spending, and this is why that fee is, you know, $10 or $500 or whatever it is. And then just having a policy, okay, hey, the fees are going to increase by over 10%, then document why, you know, what is changing to require that fee increase. It just provides more transparency to the public on where their fees are going. And this is not in the charter, this is just
a.
city council needs to get. Yeah.
Policy.
So do we need a motion and a second to that vote and all of that for the recommendation?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Do you have a question?
No,
Oh,
I'm just sitting.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
To make it a
Oh,
recommendation.
okay, to recommend to the city council that they set a policy on reporting to the public on how fees are calculated and where that money is going and how much they expect to raise.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I
Anyone opposed?
I abstain. It's just frivolous.
You don't want the public to know where fees are going?
It's frivolous.
I'm sorry, Greg, is that a yes or a no?
I want to go on record saying no. It's just a frivolous thing. It's like it costs to be the boss. Merchant fees cost. And
It's on record, Greg.
and you're trying to ask for them.
He said he abstained earlier, so.
I tried to abstain, but she wanted me to vote. So it's no. It's like it costs to pay. Merchant
It's on
fees are part
record.
of things. You gonna ask somebody to pay for it? Sure, that's crazy.
Okay.
You got public record.
Record noted.
Okay. We are on agenda item number 3F. This is to discuss and consider action on city attorney's comments and proposed amendments regarding the city charter.
You said 3F?
The email. The city
These guys, I'm out of
Our city attorney, do you have any comments for?
Well,
We'll be back next.
I sent y'all an email.
That was dependent on.
I sent y'all an email, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I would say majority of things are in there. I mean, just kind of some things that I caught that in terms of clarity or readability, I think would help. There's a couple in there that if you open that section up, I would make a recommendation. Let's kind of clean up some of this wording. There are other things in there that I think you all absolutely have to do. Let me give you an example. There's a provision in there where council's considering a removal provision of a council member, and they're not going to take any public comment, but you can't do that anymore. State law says if you have a public meeting, the public has a right to speak. So that was one that I think you all definitely need to make that change. But I've sent you this, I guess, about a week and a half ago, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have or provide further information if that's what you need.
The one thing that I would ask, because that's the semantics, punctuation, some of the wording I thought was the majority of everything. Was there anything that I overlooked that was like legality? That's severe legalities, and that's the thing that I wanted to make sure I didn't overlook. Because everything, majority of what you wrote was, just like a couple of wording pieces.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll go back to 3.08.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
C9,
Yeah.
that's that provision about, we'll definitely have to change that because that's not legal anymore, where you can't, or you don't allow public comment.
Do we have to put a proposal for that amendment, or is it, because you're doing it, it can automatically be updated?
Oh, because, I'm sorry.
So like for the changes that you're recommending, do we have to put that?
I would love that to be in your report, just to handle it. Because
Okay.
I think it's, a one-stop shop. You give the report to council, they can address that.
Okay.
Should we go through these individually, minus capitalization and punctuation?
I'm happy to do whatever y'all want to do. I mean,
And we're allowed to go through this because it was on public record, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
My only main concern is that last one you did, where it basically says the city council does not have to put our recommendations on the ballot.
Do you have this section?
It's 11.11D.
You just went straight to the bottom.
Yeah, well, that's the first one I had an issue with.
There are some in here that also, where you actually have questions. Am I reading this right? What is the historical current practice does city council need to approve? Am I reading the wrong one?
Which one are you reading?
Okay, like 1.02, form of government.
11.08 is
So so he recommended 11.11.8. Can we start with that one and then go to one?
Yeah.
Because I agree with Terry, I do want to go back to one. What was your question on that one?
Mine was 11.11B, which you basically recommended that city council be given the authority to determine whether our recommendations go onto the ballot, and I don't think that's a good idea.
I'm not making any recommendation. I'm just pointing it out that, the way I see the world is that this ought to be more of an advisory body. And this is the example I'll give. I'm not saying you all would ever do this. Y'all seem like a really great bunch. But if this charter review committee said, hey, we want the new city hall to fly the Taylor Swift flag. I don't know if there is a Taylor Swift flag. I assume there probably is. You all could put that in the report, and council has to put that on the election. And to me, I don't think that's right. I think council should be the final arbiter of the recommendations, taking into account that you all have spent 8 meetings maybe going over this stuff. And I don't think they're going to push aside some things, but like here, my former city, the Charter Review Commission came up and said, we want council to be paid. That went to council as part of their report, and council said, we're not going to accept that specific amendment. They put, I think, everything else on the ballot. That's just to give you an example. And I'm not suggesting you add this to your report or do anything with it. I'm just saying that's what I think this ought to be more of an advisory body. Council, we've studied these issues. This is what we think you ought to do. And it's up to council to decide what they're going to put on the ballot.
Do we know what the Taylor Swift flag looks like? Or?
I'll send that in the next email.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, because now I'm definitely not going to go along with making, deferring to them, but I think we should put the tails.
All those in favor?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Can I vote?
And I have nothing, did I say?
So we
I don't have anything
can
against Taylor
discuss
Swift.
that next time, because we're not going through that one.
Oh, we're not going
Clearly
to
you
this right now?
don't.
The 11?
Oh, I see what
Yeah,
you mean. Just,
we can expand on this and see if we want to adopt it when we talk about it in the next meeting.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you clarified it enough so that we can actually think about it.
Tristan,
Yeah.
can we talk about this stuff now if it's
You can
technically
talk
11?
about his comments and
Okay, even if it's not the section we're talking about?
proposed amendments,
Okay.
but nothing outside of that.
But Terry's hat was back at 1, right?
Oh, I'll just point out that not all his comments are recommendations, some of them are questions. And so we need to answer those questions. I mean, like 102, 1.02, form of government, all policies, what does this mean? If a department has an internal policy, does city council need to approve? What's the historical current practice? Okay, there's a lot of questions on that. And it's not a recommendation, it's questions that I guess we need to ask ourselves since he's asking us. It seems pertinent, and
Well, none
that's
of these are recommendations, these are just.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, those are, if he's pointing them out as a legal counsel, that I don't think we need to discuss make capitalization consistent throughout. I don't think that's something we need to discuss. But when he goes into detail, asking questions like that, since he's pretty much an expert, maybe that's something we ought to look at and consider.
What would be another way that like determined policies would be used in that sentence? If we need to figure out
I don't know,
historical current practices, I guess, how would we research the historical current practices?
Oh,
Like one of the questions that he has in here, what does the reference to policies mean? I can see him coming up with that because he may have read somewhere in our charters where it just keeps listing policies, but it doesn't point out which policies you are referring to. So maybe we need to be more specific when we see policies, okay, what policy? Maybe that's where he's coming from. That's just.
yeah, and I don't, yes, a little bit of that. And you all talked about this periodically during even tonight's meeting. You know, the charter is kind of this constitutional framework and ought to set out like principles. And then from those principles, departments oftentimes go create policies. I don't know, for instance, if the police department has a policy. They have a pursuit policy. They have an arrest policy. They have all sorts of policies. I don't know if those come to council or not. I kind of hope they don't. Because it's, council's not the expert. The police chief and his folks are the experts on that. So do you have to do anything with this?
Yeah.
No. But I think I tell people all the time, if you send me a document, I'm gonna read it. And I'm gonna point out some things that, words matter to me. And so I just think that is an issue. If you all were to open 102 for another reason, I would really hope that you all would consider clarifying that, what that means, what the scope of that is from council's
Like, what are the policies that they would
yeah,
oversee
kind
and
of
be
under their,
responsible for?
under their guise.
So the way I'm reading that is it gives them the authority to determine policies, and part of that is they hire a city manager and the policies are done that way, but the way I'm reading that is they technically have the power to moderate the police department, but they're not required to. Is that what that says right now?
It says determine policies. I don't know.
Okay.
Do I think it's a huge legal issue? No. I want to be real clear with that.
But it'd be helpful to
Maybe.
break that out.
Yeah.
Is there other language from other cities that have where they would have like a section that's defining the form of government that, I can Google it, but is there others that, off the top of your head?
Yeah.
That like, would you say, hey, other people might say it like this?
No, but I'm sure they're out there.
If you wanna make language updates, do we have to recommend that? So like, you recommend that there's a term I can't say that.
Disannex.
Yes.
Oh, disannex?
It does something.
I mean, I could. I mean, that's a simple.
Is that something that has to go
Cut
to
and
the
paste.
voter to approve? That change?
Yeah, I mean, it really does. I'm of the opinion, that unless it's it's adding a comma, or, I don't think the capitalization does. But
Moving
that's,
programs.
there may be someone out there who thinks that's a substantive change. And so instead of arguing whether council now has the authority to disannex people because the code publisher made that change, I think that ought to go to the.
I'm just wondering how long this ballot's gonna be.
Well, and again, I want to be real clear here. I don't think that must be changed. Many of these things are only if you open up that section for whatever reason, then I would highly recommend that change. And I think I did this, Trista, you correct me. I think I did this before she sent me all of your previous changes. And so maybe you have opened it up. I don't know. I don't know.
And one comment on ballot length, because in a previous charter election, a single proposition would be to change or update to
Yes,
state law.
right.
So that throughout the charter, anything that we've said, this needs to be updated to
Yeah.
refer to state law, would be one
Yeah,
item.
and
So-
I remember it also had
Right.
the,
Right.
for the sex,
Yeah.
change the
Yes,
sexes.
right.
That's
That's
one.
not the
Genders,
whole.
genders, and making the language, capitalization, that stuff.
So it's
Was
not
all
gonna be
one.
itemized?
Yeah, all those are one.
So there will be an itemized thing for people to look
But not
at,
in that
but on the
paragraph.
ballot, it won't be.
Too soon, Craig.
So, are we gonna go through
So
each of these, or are we gonna
to
just,
go through this now, or we're going to review this and go through it next month?
or as we do the sections, which would mean we would have to go through the first sections that we've already completed at this point, and then save the other sections for later?
Okay,
We
we
have
can
a-
look at the clock and make that decision, we got about 20-something minutes.
So we have section 7 and 9 to go back and review, right?
There's nothing in
Right.
here from the section.
And then 11, we still have to review next meeting.
I would like to add section 8.
Can I'm so sorry, go. You said section 8?
Section 8.10, Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
You got any for the next meeting, or you got any proposals?
Well, I would like it on the agenda.
Oh, I got you.
Okay. I'm just trying to get an understanding of it, sorry.
So I've got section 9 coming back. Jamie, you said section 7 coming back?
Wasn't that, or no? I was asking.
And we all have.
I don't have that
we have
noted as coming back.
Okay,
all
then
of
I'm
these
wrong.
ones.
Okay, and then Carol, you wanted,
8.10.
and did you want to talk about that tonight, or?
No, because I need some information, but
Okay.
I don't believe the way it's in the charter right now is actually what happens, so I wanted to check on that and then bring up new language if it's needed.
Okay,
Got quiet again.
are there any other items to discuss?
Well, I mean, there's his notes in here. I mean, some of them are good, definitely, that need to be discussed. I mean, I'm just looking at section 308. Number 9, no public comment should be allowed unless agreed to by a majority vote of the voting members of the city council present. Rules for public comment shall be set by the city council. And his recommendation, every regular, special, or called meeting of a governmental body shall be open to public except as provided by this chapter. I think that's a necessary change. I'm sure going through this, there's more that he's recommended that we need to look seriously into.
Well, I think,
Change
do we want to go through these tonight?
I believe that's the question.
Yeah.
Do we want to go through all of these tonight, or do we want to go through them next one?
I don't think
That's the question that's on the table.
I don't think we can go through all of them tonight.
Can we pick the ones we all agree on and just knock them out and then leave the rest of them?
Yeah, I agree. Some of them are pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we start with the beginning?
Let's start with the first one.
All right, let's start with it.
I would say if we have disagreement, then just push it, but otherwise.
Charlotte, which one?
Let's push how many we can. Let's start with
Okay,
number one.
Article 1, starting with capitalization, yes.
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 Well, that's gonna be blanket, right? Capitalization?
Yeah, that's
And, like,
blanket.
Yeah.
All policies, what does this mean?
So I think clarifying language, if we needed to do something there, would be saying something like set policy direction. It's more of the like legislative direction of the city, not the granular policies. So it's setting the direction.
Mike, is that the right terminology to use there if we want something there? Was what she said the right terminology that we should use?
I think so. I got the gist of it, so I'll
Okay.
take a stab at it and I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that'd be good.
Is that a motion that we need to set?
Do we need to?
Can we do a motion for all of them at once? Or
Well, we may dis.
You're the stickler, I don't care.
omnibus or something?
I'm just taking notes.
So I think the motion could come at the next meeting when the proposal comes up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So we're just
Yep.
giving notes to Mike.
Just a
Great.
kind of yes or no or questions.
Okay.
Right, number three.
Right, full power to annex
like
territory to extend and enlarge the city boundaries and exchange areas with other municipalities.
Wait, are we doing paragraph
Whoa,
spacing?
wait,
or-
Where are
Where are
you?
you?
1.04?
Oh, 104.
We're just reading.
Oh, we ain't got that.
Comments on the right.
We're on number 3.
So, yeah, like run
I was
through
going
the
down the
comments
I
on the
just
I
right.
got different format.
Oh, just the
Like
comment.
1, 2.
Oh, I'm just reading comments. That he
Yeah.
had.
Oh,
Like,
I was
that,
going through his
I
emails.
thought that was an
Oh, yours is
addition.
I was reading down the
Is that not
email.
part of it? That is the comment.
What's in our email?
All right, three.
Paragraph.
Paragraph spacing.
That's why.
Any concerns on that one?
No.
No, I think that's.
That's gonna be part of the, yeah,
Okay.
blanket.
Oh, I don't want to take over your meeting.
No, you go
I was
ahead.
about to. All right, number 4, 1.5, detachment. Any concerns?
No.
DeSantis.
Go ahead.
First, just
Just annex.
replacing, just annex.
DeSantis.
So we want to change detachment
To disannex.
Yeah, because of legal word and customary way to
If it's
describe
a
it.
customary legal word, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's
no,
right.
I got lost. Okay, I'm on board. I got it.
Number
So we
6.
do want to change that to
Yep.
disannex?
Yes.
I agree.
Yes. Any no's? All right, let's move on. Number 5, citations to the state law. What? Hey, move that along.
Keep going, keep going.
Citations to the state law.
This is just reference, how we reference laws.
Yeah, that's just a reference.
I'm good
Any
with,
nays?
Good with that?
I'm good with the
Everybody good with
recommendation.
that?
Yeah.
All right, moving on to
7.
3.05, in additional language. Yeah.
3.04?
3.04.
4.
No, 3.05 we had to talk about.
They've got to put it on the agenda.
Right. Okay.
And I'm gonna get you all an updated
Yeah,
chart.
you'll get us up there. So now we're looking at 3.06.
Wait, did we go through 305?
General policy.
Water general policies? Do we need to define what that is?
I point that out. It's just, I mean, I always see.
So similar to the direction that she provided for 102
Yeah,
would be
I agree.
comparable to that.
Yeah.
Direction,
What was-
general direction, is that what?
I think that's
How do you
what
word
was
that?
the language you used?
I wrote it down.
Basically the similar,
Like legislative policy, like a policy equals legislative direction, so if you
Yeah.
use that, then it's,
Yeah, so-
saying that you will, give policy direction.
Yeah.
So.
whatever that
is.
ends up looking like.
Adopt budgets, comma, and set policy direction, or something.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Great. Great leader.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, it's 3.06.
Not exclusive.
What do we mean by these are not exclusive authority, emergency powers? Where you got that highlighted?
Yeah, that, I always see that like one of the powers of the mayor. Under state law, when the deal goes south, the mayor can act without council. In fact, he did yesterday. He issued the disaster declaration without any sort of council action. He's got authority under state law to do that. I just wanted to point out that list here is not exclusive. It doesn't include primary one, which is the emergency power.
So there's no real change because by
There's no real
default,
change. Again, I'm
by
not
default it's
suggesting
there.
I'll dive into this and do it, so.
Okay, by default it's in its power.
If you open it up, I would suggest it.
You're just pointing out that we're not enumerating emergency
Yeah,
powers. It's
yes,
the sort of default powers.
So do we need to revisit that later?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it's by default. It's,
Perfect.
We're on 3.06, right?
Yeah.
Add a reference to.
and
We're done
So-
with ordinance
3.089.
We said we didn't.
I
need to open that
definitely
one
think
up.
that needs to be changed.
So, agree.
Okay.
Okay.
It's
If
so
no
small.
other concerns on 306, let's move to 308. No brainer? All right, 3.10, the additional language, oh, we already did that.
Are we all agreeing with the 3.08
Oh, wait.
comment 9 about where this is no longer legal to have this? We just have to do it.
Everybody
right?
said yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I missed it. My
No,
bad.
no.
Yeah.
3.12.
So,
Well, 3.08 is gone, so 3.12 is relevant. It's not relevant.
No concerns on 3.12, 3.14.
Well, hold on a
oh
second.
wait, do we need
Hold on
to
a
change
second.
something in 3.12?
Yeah.
No, because we've got rid of 3.08, so.
But it's saying 3.09 is its
It's not whether we have
3.08.
concerns, it's whether we need to do something or not do something. Do we?
You don't have to, I'm just pointing out that does conflict in.
Okay,
308.
all right.
So,
Oh, it's different.
You got something to say on 3.12?
No, we're good.
No, no, I think we're
We're all
okay.
good?
Yeah, we
Move on
understand
to
that.
3.14.
Which makes sense because it's talking about citizens and open meetings.
What about motions or orders? Does this limit, regardless of language, is unnecessary and could be deleted? So you're suggesting we just delete
For
that?
314, that I had it crossed out as if we'd already.
Yes, that has been removed.
Okay.
Okay.
We were crossing ships of the night.
Right, that was one of the ones that we did it right. Good job, team.
All right, we moving on.
oh, please do something with 315. Get me out of the mix.
There's something going on. Review 315, please.
Well, is this one of the ones that we want to bring up later if it needs
Sure,
more
you can.
discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, so just real quick on that, this is basically saying that we must send an ordinance to him before it goes on the agenda?
Yeah.
So we could just say it doesn't have to go to him before the agenda. And
Is that the okay.
He's consenting us to form, right?
No, this is where a council member, before they propose an ordinance on the agenda,
They have to run it by
gives it to
you.
me, I've got to review it, and then it goes on the agenda. I will tell you, and I've been in this position before, where a council member says, I want you to create this ordinance, and I know, and that council member knows, that council consensus is they don't want it done. And so I'm gonna spend 6 or 8 hours maybe on this ordinance.
Because you review it afterwards anyways.
Pardon?
You review it afterwards.
I do,
Yeah.
mean, but there's a process.
Yeah.
I think that council member ought to present the concept at least to council. Council ought to say, city attorney, go create the ordinance.
Okay. So
Yes.
you want you don't want the pre, you want the after. No post.
So no,
Exactly.
He only wants to
We're doing
work
right
on ordinances
here.
that are gonna pass, basically.
basically, he doesn't want to see it until it's, yeah, a real thing.
So is that a quick fix then?
I think it.
Like,
Just change must.
you can
I think
change
so.
it.
Now, listen, this
Let's
has gotta
talk
go,
about
this
that
has
a
gotta
second.
go to, them.
Mhm.
And I
Why would they
I
do
hope
that?
they think the same way.
Can you give us another example of why they would go this route?
Is it not the norm?
Actually, if it goes to them, don't they have to put it on if we.
May have a lot
So
of time.
if I can,
He's basically saying.
frame this a
if
different
he can see
way
it
and related
afterwards,
to the information access policy. So for example, if a council member came to me and said, I want you to create a 100-page report for something, they now have to bring that to council. Council says, yes or no, we want that report to be made. After that motion, I will, based on the vote of council, either make the report or not make the report. So what the charter is saying is the city attorney, no matter what, will, he can be handed an idea for an ordinance by the charter, he has to make that ordinance, which then goes to council, and then council at that point votes. So,
So I think.
that's the difference.
But
Must
then
do
we're paying
duplicate.
for that, because we pay him.
No, he's
Yeah, but we pay him hourly.
He just has to work more hours.
Are you hourly?
How do you get paid?
I was like, are you?
He's on payroll.
Well, he looks at it either way, but this way, he doesn't have to look at it before it goes to the
Let's
agenda.
not waste his time.
He's hourly.
Let's keep him around.
Do you approve?
Well, I will tell you, my general philosophy, and I tell council this, I told this council this. If someone comes, if one of them comes to me and says, hey, can you give me an idea on how this works, what the law is on this? You know, I don't know what the threshold is, but if it's beyond just off the top of my head, I am gonna have to do a little research on it. I'll do the research, but I'm gonna get it to that council member and the rest of the council in an email, so that, you know, I'm not creating allegiances, either intentionally or unintentionally. That has served me well. I've been doing this for 30+ years, and I haven't had a problem with that policy yet. And I think this, when I saw this, I was like, are you kidding me? This gets city attorneys in trouble.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you may have even had a meeting beforehand, and council said, we're not doing that. And then that council member comes to you and says, you create an ordinance, you have an obligation to the charter, and away I go.
And what you had listed here, the city attorney, we send it to the city attorney for approval of form. How about if we would send it to the city attorney for recommendation of form, opposed to approval? That way, attorney's not making the decision, but he can provide a recommendation to the question.
It still forces him to make a recommendation.
Yeah, I think we just.
He wants post-review, not pre-review.
So I just read through all these, and if I understand right, on a ballot, we would just reword this entire paragraph that would encompass all these, right?
Yeah.
I don't see anything in these that don't make sense, personally.
Say that again?
What are you talking about?
For this paragraph 315B,
Okay.
there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 suggestions on it. All those suggestions I looked at make sense to me. So if we make a proposal, we need to make a proposal to reword that paragraph and incorporating all these, in my opinion, because nothing there doesn't make sense to me. Everything there seems like it's valid.
Wait, are you saying that everything as written seems valid, or?
All your
Okay.
suggestions are
Okay.
valid points to me, it seems
Okay.
like. Personally, that's how I see it.
Does everybody agree?
Yes.
And that whole paragraph could just be reworded.
Yes.
315B.
Yeah.
Except
The way he's.
Yeah, we should accept the
So
red
basically,
line
we
changes.
remove him out from the.
Yeah, we would have to come up with a complete rewording of the paragraph incorporating these.
Yes.
But
Okay.
That's, to me, that's.
I think we
think
agree.
we'd be approved. I think we rely on your recommendation.
Okay.
So we're just saying write it how you want it,
Well, it's gonna come to y'all next time,
Yeah.
and so y'all can say.
Write it so
you
we'll
missed it."
approve it.
Okay, yes.
For the next one, I say we just put this on the agenda next week.
Okay, we're getting close on our time, we're at 9:47, 315D.
Yeah.
Dog,
I say we put this on the agenda for next time because this is actually changing policy.
y'all
Yeah.
agree?
Yes.
Agreed.
Okay, 315D will be next month?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right on my head.
Is it indelible pencil?
community paper now.
All right, moving on to 14.4.01C, 9.
That's an easy change.
Yeah, we should make that change.
Everybody in agreement?
Is that considered like a state change or something?
It's, I forget what they retitled it as the Public Information Act. It's been
That-
years.
But that would be like a blanket proposal, yeah.
We could just.
Anybody disagree with?
No. You can
Okay,
go.
moving on to 15.4.02.
We already did that.
Yeah.
Y'all made that change?
Yeah, we already
We
addressed
already
that.
agreed to that. Okay.
Okay.
Any nays on 4.2B? No nays, moving on to 6.2.02.
We kind of fixed this already.
We're gonna get rid of the pencil. No.
Are we back?
I think we already took care of this.
Oh, we're back.
Took care of
We
this.
took care of it.
We took care of it. He's reading
Good
my
job,
notes.
team.
We're
Good
getting
job,
right.
team.
I just wanna find
I
you.
told y'all that before I got to say it.
We gonna bring you one next month. Indelible pencil. Amazon got everything.
know what that is.
Amazon got everything. We gonna search that. You
So
can
we're good on that, we wanna get rid of the pencils. Okay, moving on to 17.11.08.
What does this one mean?
Wait,
703.
wait, 703?
17.11.08.
What?
Wait, did we do,
Item
excuse me,
Paragraph 11.08.
Wait,
It's a 17th bullet point
Number 17 on the list.
on his email.
I don't have a 17 list.
yeah, I
I'm looking at
Printed
the,
his email. I'm just.
no,
It's
I got it written here.
Yeah.
11.08.
Well, have we done
what is it? What's
7.03
the
petitions?
section, article?
Do you have 11.8 on there?
Oh, it's all in the bottom.
We don't have 7 on ours.
Oh,
Sorry, they're looking at the actual red line charter
Yes.
document.
looking at
If
his
you,
email.
but
Yeah.
Terry, you all are gonna defer to state law, the petition, so that'll cover that.
Okay.
Yeah, 7.03B was state law.
Yep.
Yeah. Terry and I are on
I don't
the
know
same.
what that is.
What is
Wait.
11.8?
We're not going by the email anymore, or what?
No,
No,
keep
you're
going.
good.
No,
You're
Well,
good.
I got
good.
this in the email.
Tell him what it said.
I just
You're looking at the
printed it.
attachment, he's looking at the
Okay.
actual email.
He's gonna
He's
take
looking
what
at the
it says.
body, you're looking, yeah.
Oh, I'm looking.
This
Says,
is,
I don't understand the exception provided in the last phrase to the sentence in the section. I'm seeking clarification. That's 11.8. I don't understand that exception.
Where are you?
okay, hold on a second. Again, you're skipping stuff.
We should be on
No.
8, well, 8.01 has comment, review issue at PCDC.
We're going by his email, and he doesn't have those in his email.
This is the email.
No, but that's the attachment.
Terry,
Two different from the actual email.
Terry, there's
Okay.
2 forms that this information has come out, so I'm on your page with where we're going.
Okay, well,
Theirs is
Well,
different.
we're bypassing this.
We're not looking at the charter.
Well,
We're
I
looking
am.
at his email, which is what we said.
And I am.
Okay, we
So
said,
can we pause and look at the charter?
we
Terry,
said,
What number are you at?
we said we were gonna look at his comments.
8.01.
These are his
email.
comments right there.
Sorry. His email.
That's his comment right there.
No, you both are right. He summarized all his comments in the actual text of the email, and then he attached that. So, but he didn't include 7 and 8 in the.
Yeah.
I think we should revisit the rest of this.
I second.
Second, third.
Tristan needs a few minutes to close this out.
Yeah, he'll
So
open
I-
3G.
3G.
3G. We got more.
We need to discuss and consider action on dates of upcoming meetings to include joint meetings with our report to
That's the 26th.
So, for review of the next meeting is April 2nd. We're gonna do sections 10 and 11. And just so you guys are all prepared, it will then also be sections 8, section 9. We will revisit the attorney amendments. I've got section 3.15 on there. So that's going to be a meeting. And then the May meeting is May 7th. That is scheduled to be final consideration of recommendations. That's going to be, I'm going to speak for Mike at that point, have that kind of like final report of the list of what you recommended so far. That will kind of be the last catch-all of things that we haven't caught yet. The joint meeting with City Council was scheduled for May 26th. After looking at calendars and what that council meeting is already going to be. We are instead proposing it be May 19th as a special meeting with City Council. Otherwise, that council meeting is also going to be seeing a lot of other very important things, and so we want to make sure that this gets as much time and attention as it needs without trying to rush through to get to other places. As you've also noticed, there's a handful of you, and setting up this room is a little bit of a headache with council, and then so having to plan for if public wants to attend, we've public attending for council meetings, we're gonna have kind of an obnoxious room. So May 19th at 6 p.m. is our new time for the joint meeting with City Council. At that point, we will likely also be asking City Council to extend your term for 1 month, so we can have one more meeting in June to circle back after that meeting with council. What that June date is, I don't have off the top of my head. Of course, it will depend on if council does that. Because we are limited to a 6-month term and 8 total meetings. So we have 1 meeting left after these, which would be that extra meeting. And then council will have to vote to extend your time for a month.
And they really don't have to.
So right now,
Well, and that means they're gonna
can we
pay
just
us
confirm that
for another month.
can we be consistent, just at least if we ask for one, let it be the first Thursday of June?
Yeah, that would be my
Yeah.
first goal for sure, that we would keep it consistent. The other consideration is depending on what council gives you back with, staff might need some time. So one of those will schedule for that first meeting, and then if something comes up where I say, please, can we push it another week or two, we'll look at schedules.
Tristan, will you send out what you just said?
Absolutely.
We need to study- Okay.
Absolutely.
So questions to you by Thursday.
Questions to me by Thursday.
And then everyone needs to agree to be clear and concise with their decisive opinions next week or month.
Yeah, next month is, I feel like, really our last debate, deliberation session.
And we hope Jim comes back.
Where is he?
You did great, Lacey.
As a
Yeah, you did. Thank you for very good.
slow
Yes.
clap.
All our questions about Thursday, we let them call those, type of something up to us, you know what all of them were.
Yeah, I can send the list of questions back out to the group. If there are any duplicate questions, I will combine those in a sort of more comprehensive question, get that out, get your responses as soon as I can. Can you officially?
You can't stand up and even adjourn. I moved that we adjourned at 9:54.
I don't think I have a.
I'm adjourning the meeting.
Don't move.